12, because Pat Nevin and I are very definitely squished in here in the Jack Barrett Memorial Stand. Low roof, shallow stands either side of the ground. The Clayton end packed with noisy, boisterous home fans waving the giant Accrington Stanley flags away to our left. Open-ended to the right, the terrace away to the right is called the Coppice end, the Coppice Hill behind the Leeds fans that are packed up on the terrace there. They've got 2,500 fans just over at the Wham Stadium this afternoon, and our fourth round tie is underway. And any football that goes on away to our right-hand side, which is what is going on exactly at the moment, Leeds defending that goal away to our right, Pat Nevin. If the home fans stand up inside this stand, we're going to be guessing a little bit at times, I think.
Slightly guessing the footwork because we can't see their feet from this angle with that. It's not a complaint. This is the FA Cup. It's a brilliant atmosphere around. It's completely rammed in here. We can actually see to the left side if Leeds get to the attack and people were in their way. They were quite annoying, but they've got out of the way. But enough I've said about Football Focus. That's exactly where they were standing.
Yes, BBC One are here, live coverage on the television. There are 15 fourth round ties to be played from this point, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and across 5 Live and Sports Extra, you are going to get commentary on 10 of them. So underway here at the Wham Stadium. Leeds on the ball just inside the Accrington half. Leeds in white, Accrington in red. Powerful header forward from Robin Koch for Leeds. The ball is nodded down into midfield. Jack Harrison trying to flick it through to Patrick Bamford into that Accrington Stanley penalty area, and Leeds win the first corner of the first half. Bamford starting for the first time since late October. So is Luis Sinistera in this Leeds team, and the young Frenchman Jorginho Ruta is making a debut.
Sadly no Nonto, which is a real disappointment for all fans of real good footballers, because he's been spectacular recently.
Coming up to 2 minutes played, really good atmosphere inside the stadium. Corner for Leeds, swung in towards the far post, and it's a good claim by Toby Savin, one of the youth products of Accrington Stanley FC, playing in what the manager John Coleman describes as one of their most glamorous games ever. As Pat was saying, this is his 22nd season in charge, Pat, in 2 different spells, his 1,033rd game in charge of Accrington Stanley. They've gone long downfield. The ball has been headed to the edge of the Leeds penalty area. It's been worked to the right-hand side. This is Longello, who's a left footer playing right wing-back, crosses in with his left foot, and the ball bounces nicely for Ilan Meslier. So let's give you the 2 teams as Meslier drives the ball long downfield with his left foot. That is headed away by Doug Tharm, who is the centre of Accrington Stanley's 3 centre-backs. The ball's high in the air. Astley, the right-sided centre-back, tries to nod it forward. Sean Worley is trying to get away down the right. The offside flag goes up against him. Leeds will get a free kick. So Toby Savin in goal, 3 centre-backs. Ryan Astley's a 21-year-old on loan from Everton. Doug Tharm is a Welsh lad on loan from Blackpool. Harvey Rogers, playing as left-sided centre-back, is Leeds fan, born and bred. This is a really big occasion for him in particular. Ross Longello, we've mentioned him, playing right wing back. Very experienced Sean McConville, playing in the rather unfamiliar position of left wing back. Liam Coyle, who started out at Liverpool alongside Ethan Hamilton, who started out at Manchester United in the Stanley midfield. And Tommy Lee, who scored that crucial penalty in the replay against Boreham Wood on Tuesday night. We think, Pat, sort of playing in behind Aaron Pressley, son of Stephen Pressley, former Scotland international, up front, and Sean Worley, who we mentioned.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the positivity of the team that they've set out there. Purely because if you look at Worley, he's an attacking player. Pressley, yeah, big centre forward, nothing like Stad Elvis up there. And by the way, that was Stephen Presley's nickname. But also you get Tommy Lee, a real good goal scorer who's going to get forward from those areas as well.
Free kick taken short. Ethan Hamilton is able to dribble the ball up towards the Leeds penalty area, then plays back into midfield. Hamilton's in space again on the left-hand side. Cross comes in, can't find a teammate. Ruta gives it away. Driven shot from range, and Meslier grabs it cleanly. That was hit with real power either side of him. It could well have tested the young Frenchman in the Leeds goal. This game has started at a pace. It's Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds 0.
Yeah, no, but Accrington are really keen to have a go there. They all went forward there. They left one player, Coyle, back. Now keep David Mellier got the ball. He was 3 against 1. He was on his own. Mellier didn't play quick enough.
Ethan Hamilton involved again for Stanley. There's McConville trying to get the cross in from the left-hand side. Rasmus Christensen stands in his path. The ball comes back into Coyle in midfield, and then young Presley sweeps it out to the right, just inside the Leeds half. Diagonal ball from Astley in towards the edge of the box, headed straight up in the air. Mellier comes, doesn't get it cleanly. Wally shoots, strong challenge on Wally, and the ball goes behind for an Accrington Stanley corner. That was dangerous.
Well, I think that was Rover who came in at the last second there. Left-footed challenge just at the last second, manages to get the ball away. Had he not got it, it's fallen for Sean Wally. He's actually scored a hat-trick in this competition already, hasn't he? So, well, that was a goal-saving moment.
Sean Wally with the hat-trick against Crawley away in the first round. They won that game by 4 goals to 1. I'll give you the Leeds team as soon as I can. Stephen Presley, Pat, here, by the way, today to watch his son Aaron playing in the FA Cup.
Yep, Scotland teammate of mine.
So, corner for Accrington. Stanley away to our right. Absolutely jam-packed, not a spot to be had inside the ground. Floated in towards the far post. Header straight up in the air. Leeds haven't got this clear just yet. And here is Presley. Tall centre forward, gangly figure, chasing the ball out to the left. Leeds trying to win the ball back. They can't do that inside their own half. Diagonal ball away to the right. McConville, who took the corner initially, is in an offside position, and so Leeds will get the free kick. 6 minutes in, 0-0. I'm just going to run through this Leeds team quickly. 6 changes from the goalless draw at Brentford last weekend. As Pat mentions, the disappointment that we're not going to see the very exciting talents of Wilfred Gnonto this afternoon, not even on the bench. Mellier in goal, Rasmus Christensen, Robin Kopp, Max Verber, who's made that brilliant block already, and Junior Firpo, the back 4. Mark Rocker and young Sam Greenwood in midfield, and then Sinistera, Jack Harrison, Jorginho Ruta playing off Patrick Bamford, who, as I say, making a first start since late October for Leeds. 3 substitute appearances in the last 3 games, and he's been in amongst the goals against Aston Villa in the Premier League, and then a couple in the big win against Cardiff in the FA Cup 3rd round replay. 5 Live at BBC Sounds, 0-0. Hope you're enjoying the atmosphere. I can see Bolton have scored early in the early kickoff in League One this afternoon. Aaron Morley has made it Charlton 0, Bolton 1. Bolton starting the day in 5th place in League One. Pat Nevin.
You know, when you go to an FA Cup game, you think, is it going to be one of those really tight grounds? Well, there's tight and there's tight. There is no space whatsoever here, and that's exactly the way Accrington wants it.
Edge of the penalty area, ball might fall here. Driven shot, oh, it's just wide. Jorginho Ruta, with pretty much his first kick almost for Leeds United, very nearly gives them the lead in the cup tie. A whisker away from the far corner.
He's slightly hooked it, hasn't he? You know, it's coming his left foot there, and he's hooked it, trying to find the far corner there, but he's taking it about a yard past the goal, and he should be getting that on target. Probably have to put your laces through that one. There's not a lot of space. We're talking about space. There's not a lot in the midfield. However, Leeds are already beginning to see a little bit of space behind that Accrington defence, who are pushing up surprisingly high.
John Coleman said in the week, Pat, he did a little piece in one of the newspapers with David Lloyd, former England cricketer and commentator, who's a massive Stanley fan, and he was talking about his approach to the game. David Lloyd was asking him, and he said that was what they were going to do: press high, not sit back and soak it up, you know, just take a chance.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Just they're not sitting off it. I mean, if you're going to have a chance to do something you're going to remember for the rest of your life, which these players would do, try it.
Wally cross into the penalty area, headed away by Firpo. Nice control from Jack Harrison. Clips ball with his left foot, wide to the left, Sinistera. Another one on his way back from injury. First start for him, like Bamford, since late October in this Leeds team. Ball is played into midfield. Greenwood is hurried out of possession, but he manages to get his pass back to Verber. That ball is beyond Sinistera. Hamilton closed down on the halfway line, but Coyle is there to help him out for Stanley. And then the pass from the right foot of the Leeds fan, Harvey Rogers, is off target and goes out of play for a throw-in to Leeds on the right inside their own half.
It'll be a wee shock to 1 or 2 Leeds players, particularly the ones who, you know, don't come through the game in this country, because they'll be saying, I'm getting less time the ball here than I get in the Premier League against a team from a couple of divisions below.
Challenge is flying in. Longello just knocks the ball back here to Astley, the right-sided centre-back for Stanley. Clears with his right foot. It disappears from our view for a second and goes out for a throw-in to Leeds, inside their own half on the left, 0-0. The other thing for us, Pat, we very normally watch football from up on high and get that sort of bird's eye view. We are sort of managers level here, dugout level, pitch level, and it's a very different experience. I'm very close to the pitch as well.
We're actually at players' head level.
Yeah.
So if they run past us, they're really just around our head level, their head. So we're seeing it as the players to some degree see it. And it's really good to, not like people having a go at this now and again, because the one thing you notice is the speed, isn't it?
Ruta chasing a long ball forward. Goalkeeper Savin for Stanley outside his penalty area, nods it away to his left. The left wing back McConville is there. Ruta in with the challenge, just a little bit too eagerly, concedes the free kick. So that stand opposite us, Pat, the Eric Worley stand, which used to be called the Cowshed, that is jam-packed. Those are all Leeds fans all the way down the side of the pitch and then away to our right-hand side as well. So it's half and half in here.
Yes, it is, and that's, you know, what you want a cup game to be. Because whatever happens, you'll get atmosphere in here. And certainly the atmosphere's kept going from both sides at the moment. I mean, you know, Accrington fans are going to be up for it, like just about like no other game. But Leeds fans, well, they're always up for it. Let's be fair.
Brilliant travelling support as always. Free kick for Accrington Stanley. 20th in League One.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed, the ball landed up in the commentary position of Martin Keown, and Steve actually had to throw it back.
Shot from the edge of the box is over the Leeds crossbar. That was McConville with the strike. Interesting for Stanley this afternoon. I was chatting to Dan, who's doing his commentary for BBC Radio Lancashire, tucked in just away to our left-hand side, was making the point that McConville is a right footer playing as left wing back, and Lungello is a left footer playing as right wing back. So we'll keep an eye on that with Accrington Stanley in this first half. 11.5 minutes gone. Next break in play, we'll take you to Walsall Leicester. That one also underway. That one's League 2 against Premier League in the FA Cup. The ball's been headed out of play here by Tommy Lee. So let's bring in John Akers and Chris Wilder.
Good start here again. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Walsall started really well in this game, and Tom Knowles just had a shot which has been palmed away by Everson in goal for Leicester. Leicester have had a header wide from Daka. Great atmosphere, just like your game. It's Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Thank you, John. Astley then to take a throw for Accrington Stanley. Red kits with white trim, playing from left to right in this first half, so they'll be attacking towards that massed Clayton end packed with the home fans in the second half. Ball's gone out for a throw-in to Accrington Stanley. Right-hand side, Jesse Marsh just gives Astley the ball. Astley holds it in his right hand, looking for an option, slings it long down that right-hand touchline. It's headed away initially. Ball breaks loose inside the Leeds half. Stretching challenge by Greenwood, cleared by Verba. Another chance to clear. Punted forward with the left foot. Ruta jumps to try and win the header. Stanley play it forward down the left, and the ball is up in the air a fair bit at the moment. Leeds now trying to get it down on the deck with Mark Rocker. Challenge goes in midfield, and Accrington Stanley win a free kick midway inside the Leeds United half, and Mark Rocker was just struggling to bring that ball under control.
Yeah, well, everyone is, because as you say, I mean, the ball is in there almost the entirety of the time, and you're thinking, who's going to get it down and, you know, hold the ball and see a pass and play a little 1-2. Yeah, that's all very well, but there's no space to do it at the moment. I think Leeds will go route one as well, because there is so much space in behind that they can do that as well. But you know, it kind of suits Accrington Stanley to go that sort of direction, kind of levelling the playing field, as it were.
Ethan Hamilton was the one fouled. He got booted on the bottom of his boot by Sam Greenwood trying to clear the ball. Let's see what Stanley can do with the free kick. Rolled low to the edge of the box. Hamilton shoots into a crowd of players. It's cleared. Drops again edge of the box, and Millier has to make another save in the early stages here. McConville on the half volley. Again, caught it well. The shooting's been good, but it was straight at Millier.
Do you know that little piece of work there from the free kick? No, I felt a few in a minute about that.
Diagonal ball for Sinistera to chase down the left-hand side. Longello runs with him all the way. The two are wrestling for it. Sinistera's been penalised for pulling Longello back, so Stanley get a free kick.
They did a neat little play there with the ball. Instead of being put into the box, everyone was expecting it. Hamilton came off and he had a shot from his left foot. He scored an absolute wonder goal in an earlier round, doing exactly that for Accrington. So I'm slightly surprised that Leeds didn't spot that coming.
Jesse Marsh has been saying this season that he's a big fan of the FA Cup, and this really is proper FA Cup football. Here we are, 4 miles east of Blackburn, 6 miles west of Burnley, 20 miles north of Manchester, the old Crown Ground as it was known, now the Wham Stadium. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds 0, and still Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Commentary of that one continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Here's Longillo, the right wing back, trying to beat Firpo on the outside. Low bobbly cross, Wally shoots into the near post, and Meslier makes his 3rd save of the game. Again, a comfortable one. But apart from the Ruter effort for Leeds, which he probably should have buried, a lot of chances for Accrington Stanley, or efforts on goal, Pat.
Yeah, and most of the game has been played in Leeds half at the moment. I mean, it's not a nightmare for Leeds because they can break into spaces behind. So far, Bamford's getting nothing really out of the centre-backs that he's playing against. But you're right, they're pushing, they're trying to put them under pressure, and if the ball falls to Wally consistently like that, he will put one away. He is a natural striker.
Throw in for Leeds. In front of those Leeds fans on the opposite side of the ground to us, just wondering whether any of the bedroom windows behind that stand permit a view of the action. The ball's loose on the edge of the Accrington Stanley penalty area. Bamford thought he should have had a free kick, he didn't get it, and actually the free kick in the end has gone to Accrington Stanley.
Right, well, first of all, Ruter should have got a free kick. That was definitely a free kick. Bamford should have got a free kick. Didn't get that either. But the ball, and it's a bit like I've often said it, FA Cup rules. Slightly different. You know, certain things are allowed to go a little bit. The referees will tell you it's not the case. Having played in them enough, it is the case, particularly when you play away at a smaller club.
Yeah, Pat, of course, got all the way to the final with Everton in 1989. Scored an FA Cup semi-final winner, am I right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Against, I want to say Norwich.
Very good.
There we go. 2 points. 16.5 minutes in. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United of the Premier League 0. Jack Harrison just inside the Accrington half comes dribbling towards us. Firpo plays back into his own half. Here's the Austrian Max Werber, who's starting to already look like a settled presence alongside Robin Cook in the Leeds back 4. Cox ball forward with his right foot. Ruter heads it to the right. Ball bounces twice inside the Stanley half. Now Bamford involved in his black boots. Nice little layoff from him. He's caught late. Referee Josh Smith wants to play an advantage. He spotted the challenge. Harrison on the dribble, still inside the Stanley half. Now a ball threaded through towards Ruter. He's stretching to try and control that, and Stanley are able to clear with McConville. Presley will chase. A miscue by Werber, but it spins off his right boot and ends up with Meslier.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's the best piece of play that Leeds have had in the game so far. The first piece of controlled play. It's taken them 17 minutes to get controlled play, and they would expect to get that in lots of occasions in the game, but they've been closed down very, very well. By the way, Patrick Bamford's not happy. He was wiped out just a few moments ago. He's having a word with the referee. The referee saying, "What? Really? FA Cup, mate?" And somebody in front of us just shouted, "Get up, you!" Yeah.
Liam Coyle has just been penalised for a heavy challenge in midfield. That was definitely a free kick. That's Sinisterra who's gone down and is staying down at the moment. Just a little bit of push and shove I can see between the two number 8s, Mark Rocker and Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee was trying to take the ball away from Leeds, trying to get them to take the free kick a little bit further back. Nice little edge to it, bubbling away.
John Coleman will be loving it, the manager, you know, because he wants to make sure he can rattle Leeds in any way he can. And sometimes you get away with a few early tackles, certainly in the FA Cup, and they've done that. And there's a few rattle players out there in white, I'll be honest with you.
Shouldn't forget, in recent seasons, Leeds United have had their problems against lower league opposition in the FA Cup. Sinisterra onto the ball edge of the Stanley penalty area. Good covering back by Longillo, and Longillo eventually tripped by Sinisterra, who was trying to duck inside and make room for a shot with his right foot. Just too many bodies in the way.
Well, what to do for Longillo, isn't it? I mean, just a moment ago he was up in the right wing there, getting to the byline, getting that cross in that Wally couldn't get in the end of, and there he was, back right beside his centre back, cutting out the dangerous run from Sinisterra. So, well, if he keeps that going for 90 minutes, he'll be tired tonight.
Recent defeats in the FA Cup for Leeds United, their fans won't want me to remind them of them. The likes of Histon have beaten them, Sutton United, Newport County, Crawley Town, all from lowlier positions than Accrington Stanley currently play their football in the English League ladder. Worley's cross, he felt I don't think he did think he was going to win a corner there, has gone behind, and that's a goal kick for Leeds. So 19 minutes in, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. That one's on Sports Extra. This is Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds 0, and this is the first of 4 FA Cup 4th round commentaries for you on 5 Live this afternoon, with a full hour of sports report as well between 5 and 6 o'clock ahead of the third commentary of the day, which is Preston against Tottenham, which is also available to watch on BBC One. The ball is in amongst the Leeds fans in the Eric Worley stand opposite us. So Rasmus Christensen wants it back. He's scampering down that right-hand touchline, wants to take a Leeds throw. Ball above his head, sneaking a few yards forward, throws it in towards Harrison, plays it into the midfield. Across it comes to Furpose, 40 yards from goal. Curling cross in. Ruta thought about jumping for it, beaten in the air. Verber heads the bouncing ball to his right. Christensen can't control the pass down the right for Leeds, and the Accrington Stanley fans give it a cheer as the ball goes out for a throw to their team.
And again, it's exactly what they want, you know, just pressure Leeds into making mistakes, you know, give them no time at all on the ball. It's easy to do for 20 minutes. It's easy to some degree to do 30, 35. But every minute, particularly after half-time, that you're asked to keep on closing down at that rate gets harder and harder and harder. And that's what these Leeds players are waiting for. Just any little chink where they slow down a little bit and there's a half a space midfield where they can get their heads up. Hasn't happened yet.
Coyle's curling pass to the right-hand side. Longello has to come back a bit into his own half to collect it. Takes Sinistera on. Sinistera shoves him to the ground. That's a free kick for Stanley. 1 goal then in the early kickoff so far today. Charlton 0, Bolton 1 in League One. And we're waiting for the Stanley free kick.
Very noticeable. There's nobody really standing out at the moment for Accrington. It's such a team, it's such a unit, it's such a battling force that they've got. It's just the force of their team personality that's got them this far forward. And it's getting them free kicks, it's getting them corner kicks, launching them into the box here. They've got some height, you know, obviously particularly with Presley, but 1 or 2 others as well. They might have a chance to again before the end of this half.
33-year-old Sean McConville in his 8th season now as an Accrington Stanley player, over 300 appearances, curls the free kick in. Dangerous one to the edge of the box. Flag is up for an offside, so that'll be a free kick for Leeds and a chance to clear the line.
It's a bit of a shame that. I mean, that's the second free kick they've had from a kind of unusual area, halfway inside the half. And you just expect them to launch it to the back post like you would do in the classic FA Cup game. But they haven't. It's been more thoughtful than that. It's been more considered than that. You know, obviously they do a lot of subtle work in the training ground as well.
Bamford looking to get Sinistera away through the middle. That was well covered by young Ryan Astley. Back to the goalkeeper, Savin. Savin gives it a savage boot downfield with his right foot. Headed to Christensen for Leeds. He's trying to evade the attentions of Ethan Hamilton. Gets away from him, crosses the halfway line. Plays the ball into the feet of Greenwood towards Bamford. His layoff finds Harrison. Oh my goodness, what a hit from Jack Harrison, who fires that into the bottom corner with his left foot. That went like a rocket. It barely got a few inches off the ground. You don't catch them much cleaner than that. And it's Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1.
What a cracker. I mean, really, I was thinking to myself, you've got to play that way. You're 30 odd yards away. Oh, you've got a player running into an area. Oh dear, you've just laced into the bottom corner. What a hit. I mean, the keeper's probably seen it from a good distance out. Nothing he can do about that. You're absolutely right. You do not catch them any cleaner than that. 1-0. And can Accrington keep on doing what they were doing before? Because, you know, that's the first time they've got a little, well, maybe the second time they've had a few passes together and they send it up the back of the net.
Second goal of the season for Jack Harrison. Last one all the way back in August in Leeds' 3-0 win against Chelsea. That was an absolute cracker though. And Leeds have the lead. What about Walsall-Leicester, John Akers?
Interesting, because Leicester are interested in Jack Harrison. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. 22 minutes gone. It's a really good game. Walsall holding their own more than. Knowles has had a couple of efforts for them. One of them saved Everson. Maddison's been booked, been kicked all over the place. Chris Wilder's with me.
Yeah, they'll be delighted with the start. Michael will be delighted. He's got history in this competition, as we all know, and they're compact. when Leicester are having the lion's share of possession. Obviously, like you just said, they've had a couple of opportunities, same sort of situations down the right, crosses into Daka, and they'll be delighted with the start. You know, you want to get through the first 20-25 minutes, and they're coming up to that, but this is not all one-way traffic, and this is not a set result.
Madison's just been booked for chatting back to the referee. Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Thank you, John. Commentary continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Great to have Chris Wilder on the show today as well. 3 o'clock, commentary in the FA Cup 4th round. Ian Dennis and Don Hutchison at Craven Cottage for Fulham against Sunderland. 6 other games kicking off at 3 o'clock, of course. We've got reporters at all of them. So Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Robin Koch is racing back into his own half to play a pass back to Ilan Meslier. Thoughts from Pat Nevin?
Yeah, just a moment ago when we were away, they had another half chance, didn't they, Leeds United, down the left-hand side there. Didn't quite get the cross in right, but asking how long Accrington can close down those gaps, can keep it very, very tight. Because as I say, you give any quality players, you know, enough time to get their heads up, they can do something special. They're beginning to see little moments now.
Flag is up against Patrick Bamford. Jack Harrison played him through. Bamford knew he'd already slowed his run. He was clean through one-on-one.
That was tighter than you'd think. I have to say, we're right in line with it. I mean, absolutely perfectly in line with it. I tell you what, it's one of those ones I'd love to see that in a freeze frame, because I think Patrick Bamford really, it is a lot closer than you think, isn't it? It's because the player in front of him looks to have walked up, but the player behind him hasn't walked up. He probably was by a knee, but it was much closer than the assistant referees suggested.
Yeah, got to be done by the naked eye here at the Wham Stadium this afternoon. No video assistant referee available in this tie. Toby Savin, Accrington Stanley's goalkeeper, wears number 40, hits a long diagonal ball into the Leeds right back position. Leeds clear, but only as far as Ethan Hamilton. Hamilton with the short shaven hair, tackled by Jorginho Ruta. The Leeds fans will certainly appreciate that. Support on the outside for him. He's going in alone. Ruta is brought down. Advantage could be played. Mark Rocket's shot deflected, spins over the bar and is away for a Leeds corner.
Well, we mentioned right at the start how much pressing Accrington were doing, but the problem with that is when you break, you can break in numbers, and they had such an overload. Leeds there, they had probably 2 or 3 extra players. Should have been a free kick. I think they would prefer the free kick. In fact, is there a free kick? No, he's going to give the corner kick. They could have had a free kick about 23, 24 yards out. Referee let it run on a bit. Another chance, and you can just feel Leeds beginning to tighten the screw again.
Enjoying watching a bit of Jorginho Ruta, 20-year-old Frenchman, 36 million he cost from Hoffenheim. This is debut for Leeds. Not difficult to spot. If you watch the Manchester City Arsenal game last night, I'll come back to that in a second. The corner's into the box and the ball is loose, and Firpo's lost his balance, so can't get onto the rebound for Leeds. Good skills from Sean Worley, trying to flick a pass forward away to Longhello. Gets a second chance, plays a low one to his left. Presley away here, racing up to the edge of the penalty area. Presley shoots with his left foot. Meslier saves, and we're down the other end now, and Accrington Stanley have themselves a corner.
We've done Accrington. We've just done at Leeds what Leeds have been doing to them. You know, a lot of players in white were up in the box expecting to get the second goal. They broke well. They got a little break of the ball, slightly lucky. When it came to Presley there, he had to be strong. He had a long way to get to goal. He got there, he got a shot on target, and he's unlucky. Coming
up to 28 minutes played then. First half of this FA Cup 4th round tie. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Corner for Stanley, away to our right. Curled in, Meslier comes, doesn't get much on it. Towards the far post it goes. Last touch came off the Stanley player, so they'll go behind for a goal kick. I think it was Astley who was threatening to try and head that in at the far post. The point I was going to make on Ruta, if you've not seen him, was Rico Lewis has a sort of similar sort of hairstyle, so quite shaggy and bushy on top, but Ruta's is even more recognisable because it's kind of dark hair underneath and then a real classic full-on peroxide on top. So that would be my description of him physically.
Is it a Neymar?
Neymar's had Neymar about it. Yeah, no, that's good, Pat. I like that. Yeah, just to help you try and picture it. Coyle plays to his right. Here's Longhello, 2 white lead shirts in front of him. He's tackled. Sinistera. Now Firpo. Firpo's got a bit of ground to run into on the left. Jack Harrison wants it on the inside. Sinistera available on the outside. They go close by, flashing past our commentary position. Sinistera plays back to Harrison. Little chip ball forward. to no one in particular, and it skids behind for a goal kick to Stanley.
Well, Sinisterra didn't keep his run going. I mean, Sinisterra plays it inside, then stops. I mean, the expectation is you keep on moving, angle your run there, and you might have got onto that ball. That ball looked terrible. That's just like a really good ball. It just didn't make the run.
Goal kick, Accrington Stanley. So their half clears. Everyone moves into the half away to our right. Under grey skies this afternoon at the start of FA Cup 4th round Saturday. 2 more commentaries coming your way on 5 Live tomorrow. I think Brighton-Liverpool at 1:30. It's going to be a fascinating game considering what went on in the Premier League game very recently between those two. And the whole show tomorrow, Steve Crossman and the team are at the racecourse ground for a really good FA Cup 4th round tie. Wrexham of the National League at home against Sheffield United, which kicks off at 4:30. Terry Butcher, by the way, alongside me tomorrow for Brighton against Liverpool, which is a real treat, I have to say. As it is, of course, sitting alongside Pat Neville.
Say hello to my big cousin for me, Richard.
Do you enjoy playing against him, Pat?
Loved it.
I bet you did, actually, yeah. I wonder what Terry would say to that. Yeah. I'll ask him tomorrow.
This is one of those, he's sent back most of the time I was away, but when I spent 10 minutes, so I don't think the big guys like the little guys.
No, they don't. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1.
By the way, underline Big Terry, A top player,
Yeah.
A top rock.
Absolutely, Pat. 100% agree. Bamford battling for the ball for Leeds. Falls at the feet of Ruta. Curling cross. Oh, Sinisterra's a yard away from tucking it in at the far post. Couldn't get there in time. It's behind for a goal kick.
And I feel that way a bit sorry for Sinisterra, because similarly, like the last opportunity, you just keep on moving. You know, don't be static. You know, try and make that move. It's up to you to trap the back post if you can.
He doesn't look to me, Pat. We've got a real close-up view of him wide left in the first half here. He's coming back from injury. He doesn't quite look up to full speed to me, Sinisterra.
It's kind of tough sometimes because people will think, oh, you're playing against a lower league club, that might be an easy way to come back. They're sometimes much harder. There isn't any space. You know, you're probably getting hammered with tackles all the time. It's pretty cold out there as well. There's another thing on top of his mind is the lad that's not playing today that's playing in his position.
Yeah.
It's had quite a good start, so he's fallen slightly down the pecking order.
14 minutes remaining in the first half. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Stanley have won a free kick wide on the right, about 15 yards inside the Leeds half, tight to the right-hand touchline. Sean McConville is the man who comes over from his left wing-back role to deliver this with his right foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red shirts, 7 now, getting ready to attack the cross with Leeds holding the 18-yard line. Short one down the right to Worley. Worley back to McConville. Low cross comes in. Cleared for now by Leeds. Worley jumps to try and win the header. Sinisterra takes a little too long over his clearance. Firpo helps out, up towards Bamford. Bamford turning inside his own half, plays wide to the left to Harrison. He's closed down by Coyle, who nearly caught him. Harrison runs into a wall of red shirts and loses it. Then Astley on the stretch inside his own half, turns and clears with his right foot. Nice layoff from Presley down to Worley. Tommy Lee pokes it with the outside of his right boot. And that's one for Hamilton to chase. He won't get there, and Rasmus Christensen is able to let it run out for the Leeds throw.
I'm keeping an eye on Patrick Bamford just now. I mean, a fabulous player, intelligent guy, but he's got a temper sometimes, and a couple of times he's just off the ball, he's beginning to lash out a little bit. He's not enjoying the physicality he's up against just now, and more importantly, the fact that he ain't getting any fouls for it.
Here's Firpo. Firpo looking for the run of Bamford. Good run from Bamford. Inside left channel, shoots to the near post. Savin down low, makes the save. A save that he should have made. Bamford just trying to catch him out, making sure he was on guard.
I'm not convinced the shot was on there. You know, if you're going to shoot from that sort of angle, it's got to be with real power, lashed either really low or really high into that near post. There was nowhere near enough power, and probably better to hold that ball up.
Yeah, didn't have massive belief about it, did it?
The thing is, he's in the box, so then it ain't going to come through this time, Patrick. You can hold it now.
Sam Greenwood breaking forward for Leeds, trying to slide one through to Bamford. That's easily cut out at the back by Doug Tharm. Stanley playing down towards Worley. Meslier spots the danger, comes racing off his line, hoofs the ball over the roof of the Eric Worley stand. An Accrington local told me 7 or 8 balls a game, apparently, Pat, will disappear over there.
I think that's just went into second crescent, number 42.
That's right. The Gardens are literally yards behind that Eric Worley stand.
There's no way that was just lashed, bounced off the pavement.
And that's the Winnie Hill side you can see behind those houses and away in the distance. So just over 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Stanley packing the Leeds penalty area again. Long throw is coming in from the left here. Can see a Leeds flag being waved just behind the throw-in taker over the other side of the ground. Sure, that's Marcelo Bielsa's face.
Does look like him, yeah.
On the Leeds flag, who was obviously in the running for the Everton job this week. That is now going to happen. Throw-in is thrown down towards the byline. Sean Worley is there, trying to turn, curls the cross with his right foot. Meslier blocks it, the ball's loose and then cleared by Firpo. Bamford can't get onto the clearance.
I think Ashley had a chance there.
Yeah.
I mean, it really looked as if he was in front of the goalkeeper. The ball fell at him. Certainly the flag didn't go up there. And I think that was a real chance for Ashley.
Christensen plays down the right for Leeds. Jorginho Ruta is able to just stride up towards the halfway line. Support on the outside. Threads one down the inside right channel to Bamford, who takes a tumble inside the penalty area. Referee Josh Smith not interested in the penalty claim. Sinisterra on the turn. Oh, hits the post, the inside of the post, and away it bounces to safety for Stanley. And they're going to clear it away, and Leeds will pick up possession. In fact, they're going to let that run out for a throw.
Oh, it's a brilliant header. He's very, very unlucky. And first look at it, Leeds are very unlucky not to get a penalty as well.
Harrison wide on the left. Cross comes in. That's behind Bamford. Chance again to clear. This is McConville. Chests the ball down. Spinning clearance high in the air. It bounces off Aaron Presley. The ball runs to Longhello inside his own half. Beats Firpo. Referee again just says to Longhello, get up, who felt his path was blocked. All happening at the moment. Stanley 0, Leeds 1. Bamford looking for the penalty. Sinisterra striking the post, and Jack Harrison with the pile driver to give Leeds the lead. And here they come again, the Premier League team. Ruta trying to chop back onto his left foot, wide on the right. He's lost the ball. Late challenge on Ethan Hamilton, and that's a free kick for Stanley.
I just wonder if Savin got anything on that. One went into they had the crossbar there from Sinisterra. I mean, it was a brilliant hit from him. And the keeper, if he has got something on it, even in fingertips, he's made a great save. Intrigued to know about penalty. We've got a replay here, and you'll get penalties for that in the Premier League generally. Because he's not got the ball, he's tackled from behind. If you do that and don't get the ball, well, has he got a bit of the ball?
Well,
but it's very, very tight, isn't it?
I think he might have got a tiny toe on the ball, but the risk there, Pat, you're right, is making the challenge from behind, because in the middle of the park, if you win the ball but coming from behind, that will be given as a free kick.
Yeah, you took a chance there. As I was saying just moments before.
Worley on the turn inside the Leeds penalty area, snuffed out quickly by Firpo. Here's Ruta, uses his body really well to turn out of a tackle, brings the ball forward. What a sweeping pass as well into the path of Sinisterra, up to the edge of the Stanley box. Step over onto the right foot, runs into Accrington players. Bamford scuffs the shot, goes down, no penalty. Patrick Bamford denied a penalty twice in a few minutes here at the Wham Stadium. It remains Stanley 0, Leeds 1.
Never a penalty in a month of Sundays. He's actually just run over the player there, and as he gets up, he's laughing anyway. Because he lands on the ground there, you think it's a possibility. But once again, good move from Leeds. They're beginning to find the spaces now. I mean, I understand why Sinisterra goes in and has a shot, but he's got to, you'd expect him to lay that ball out wide, because the overlap was absolutely perfection, was it? I think it was a Harrison who'd gone on the left-hand side there.
Ethan Hamilton shot. Oh, Meslier, good save, low to his right. Accrington Stanley testing Leeds United's keeper from range today, and so far Meslier has been up to the test. That was the best of them. He had to get down quickly at full stretch to his right to keep that out. Here they come again, the League One team. Longhello's ball into the edge of the box. This one is easily cleared up towards Bamford, trying to turn it round the corner. Longhello can't control it wide on the right. Harrison's little layoff. Oh, that is a heavy challenge there on Firpo, trying to get away down the left, and Josh Smith this time, the referee, says yes. And Jesse Marsh doesn't like the challenge, and suddenly there's a little bit of to and fro in the two technical areas away to our right. Jesse Marsh is absolutely fuming about that challenge on his left back.
Well, it's right to move, but it's not with his feet. It's kind of, with his back, really. His body's gone into him, and he's putting him so far. He's put him so far up in the air. That's why it looks really bad. But as I've said before, sometimes FA Cup rules can be slightly different.
Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Yellow card for Liam Coyle. What's happening at Walsall Leicester? John Akers.
Oh, it's good. It's a proper cup tie. It's tight. Pitch is small. The referee's letting it be really competitive. It's Walsall 0, Leicester 0. We've got 8 minutes to the break. Daka could have had 3 or 4 so far in this game. He's had several efforts, but hasn't tested Evans, the goalkeeper, enough. Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
6 minutes remaining in the first half here. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. FA Cup 4th round weekend. Ruter's left-footed shot. Good save, Savin. Low to his left, tip behind for a corner.
They're getting plenty of hits in now. Leeds United, they're finding big gaps, 15, 20, 25 yards out, time and time again, and they're capable of scoring for that, as we've already seen from Harrison. And go back to that Coyle yellow card. That was more of a quarterback sack than a tackle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an outstretched leg, and Firpo absolutely flew over the top of it, which, as you said, Pat, made it look incredibly dramatic and dangerous. It wasn't quite that. 5 minutes remaining first half. Ball into the near post, headed away by McConville. Ruter will get to it first for Leeds. His white shirt heavily muddied now. Meslier all in black. Just controls the ball under the studs of his left boot, hits the diagonal wide to the right. Christensen battling with McConville. They've both got a full handful of each other's shirt right under the nose of the assistant referee. Christensen does well for Leeds, wins the throw.
Yes, it has been a robust afternoon so far, and it can ask you expected. It's what you get in these sort of situations. Kind of noticeable now that getting pushed back a little bit, McConville, but the rest of the back line isn't going back with them, and it's causing a bit of a problem for their back line.
Throw in from the right in towards that Stanley near post, headed away. They come back in from Christensen on the half volley, and Toby Savin rushes off his line, jumps high above Sinisterra, makes the catch.
I did see another replay on a monitor here from Savin. I think it was a save, and the one he put onto the
Sinisterra shot, really.
So
well,
he's actually done very well today. He's certainly from crosses. Savin's looked absolutely exceptional.
Leeds trying to bring the ball down the left with Rocker. Rocker runs out of room, so that'll be a Stanley throw. They're missing 9 players from the squad, Accrington Stanley, today, and by my understanding, in fact, I think 6 or 7 of them could easily have started this game. I think 10 days or so ago there were 19 players missing. So, when we talk about the likes of Bamford's just back from injury and Sinisterra, and they're missing Stuart Dalla as well, Accrington Stanley have far smaller resources and they're missing plenty.
Exactly. And, again, it's just FA Cup. Sometimes you forget about it. Just on with it, have a battle. The pressure isn't on Accrington Stanley, so even though they've gone 1-0 down, they still feel as if, and they are in this game, but they wouldn't want to lose another, certainly before half-time.
Charlton 0, Bolton 1 in League One. Harrison in space on the left-hand side for Leeds, takes a touch, runs down the left, crosses the ball into the far post, falls to Christensen, controls it, drives it low, right across the face of goal and behind for a goal kick, and Leeds have come close to that second, and Christensen is adamant there was a touch on that from the goalkeeper, he says again from Savin, and he feels it should be a corner. Pat will have a look on the replay when it comes up on our monitor here, but it still remains Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1.
It's a hard one to see for the referee. Maybe a fingertip, but it was going past the post anyway. But the keeper's got himself in great positions, apart from the goal, which I don't think he can do anything about. It's just such a beautiful ping, as it was, from about nearly 30 yards or so. But they're getting a lot of shots and goals just now, Leeds, aren't they?
Savin's clearance dealt with by Koch. Ball inside the Leeds midfield, becomes a 50-50. Greenwood wins it, but then loses it to Coyle. Coyle's got to be a bit careful now on the yellow card. Astley, the centre-back, overhits his pass from the back, and it's well beyond Presley and through into the arms of Meslier. Leeds last in the 5th round of the FA Cup back in 2016 as a championship team. Got through to the 5th round that year and lost 1-0 at Watford, who were then a Premier League team. Last in the quarter-finals as a Premier League team. Leeds all the way back in 2002, 2003. Long time without making the FA Cup quarter-finals for one of England's famous old clubs. They've got a throw on the left inside their own half. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. It's been a good bruising battle, this 4th round tie so far, lit up by Jack Harrison's stunning strike to give Leeds the lead. Fur post throw, flicked on by Sinisterra. Bamford battling for it. Astley beats him. Clearance only finds Sinisterra. He's got Harrison available wide on the left. He's going to look infield. He's going to go on his own. He's lost it. Ball is cleared by Farm up towards the halfway line. Verba makes the tackle. Stanley come again down the right. Tommy Lee sliced his pass, and that'll go out of play for a Leeds throw on the left. Pat Nevin.
One of the things that you think Accrington Stanley will have to do in the second half is get a little bit more out of the set pieces. You know, they've thought about them really well. You expect them to go in long. Even the long throw that he called, they didn't play it long, did they? They set it up as if it's going to be, but they've not got anything out of it. That doesn't make it wrong, but you need to try and get something, certainly opportunities from those set pieces, because it's a big part of the play.
Bamford, you're right, he's getting a little riled up here. Rushes in unnecessarily on Astley. Tharm spotted it, comes over to Bamford, goes eyeball to eyeball with him. Now Tharm is saying that Bamford went with the elbow against Astley. I think that Bamford was in danger of doing that and then sort of pulled out of it, but you're right, he's a little bit on the edge.
Yes, and you know, they're winding him up a wee bit as well.
Yeah.
We should fight, is what you do. But on this occasion, Patrick turns around and has a laugh, as if to say,
Now free kick for Stanley, wide on the right hand side. It's Tommy Lees.
did you think that was a free kick, Alistair?
I couldn't see it, Pat. I couldn't see it. I don't know. I just heard loads of Stanley fans go up shouting free kick. So,
but this is a free kick we were talking about just a few minutes ago. They have been very, very thoughtful about how they've done it. You know, they haven't just usually lumped it in there, but they have got power in the air. I wonder if they'll try something again here. You know, a little bit of a block, someone coming out towards the 18-yard line for a reverse shot.
1 minute of added time, end of this first half. We're in it now. McConville curls that cross in. The ball is inside the penalty area. Tharm tries to get the shot in. Longello does as well. Bamford clears. Then the effort comes in. Couple of deflections straight into the arms of Mellier. So much of Accrington Stanley's shooting has gone straight at Mellier, apart from the one effort he had to throw himself low to his right, and he was equal to that one as well.
Yeah, but not with really enough power. Power and precision. And that has actually, in simple terms, that has been the difference between the two teams. The power and precision you are getting from the Leeds players, not just from the goal, but from other shots towards the target as well, has been much more impressive.
Yeah, Jorginho Ruta trying something a little bit fancy there with the outside of the left boot, got it wrong and just booted the ball behind for a Stanley goal kick. So 1 minute of added time is up. Josh Smith, the referee's had a look at the watch, so I think as soon as this ball is launched downfield, the half-time whistle is going to blow. Accrington Stanley still very much in the cup tie. There we go. Leeds leading by a goal to nil. Jack Harrison with an absolute screamer in the first half. Sinisterra's brilliant effort came back off the post, but as I say, Pat, and as you've said in the first half, Accrington Stanley are very much in this.
They are very much in it, and if they can just convert A, one of the chances, B, do a little bit better for one of the set pieces, but on top of that, they've battled so well. But you know that the quality that Leeds United have got, they are going to keep on creating chances as this game goes on. But you need the FA Cup magic to happen now. You need that goal maybe out of nowhere. And if they're back in this, you might see Leeds getting a little bit jittery as well. But so far, it's almost what you expected. The little bit of quality has made the difference.
Great atmosphere, good game, cracking goal. Accrington 0, Leeds 1.
Yeah, they've certainly been working on how to hit it from long distance, haven't they, Leeds, Pat?
Yeah, but then they're getting the space to do that. There is a gap developing. We're actually sitting where our angle is, chappers, between like 18-yard line and the halfway line. We're in that precise area, and they're getting a lot of gaps there. So, you know, when they're losing the ball, they're going back deep. They've got three centre-backs. They've got Coyle, who go a little bit deeper as well, and they're developing a little bit of space in there, and they're pinging it from there. And keeper's done very well. I don't know if you managed to see the replay of that. Savin actually get a save on it, went it onto the post-stroke crossbar. But yeah, they are getting chances from there, and they're going to get more. And it's up to Savin to have an absolute beautiful game for their second half, and hope these forwards can do them a favour.
As you said as well, you know, there's a power and a physicality to Accrington Stanley, but not something that they over rely on, i.e. they don't just lump it.
Yeah, you expect them with the way they've set out the stall to play. You know, okay, we're going to try and press as high as we can. We're going to give very little space in the midfield. There's tackles going in, yeah, and they're quite robust tackles. That's one way of putting it. And you think, yeah, when you get to the final third, you'll lump it. No, they haven't. They've rethought about it and think, okay, Leeds are good at defending there. Let's think of a more intelligent way to do it. Now, I watched a lot of the goals that they scored on the way to where they've got to so far, and they have scored a number of goals from the well thought out training ground based on free kicks. They almost scored one, you know, and it was Hamilton with his left foot, didn't quite catch it as well as he did earlier in the competition. But it just goes to show you, when you've had 1,000 games as a manager, you've probably learned a thing or two.
Also, the other thing, robust challenges, they're only robust, I suppose, if you're not used to them. And I would argue that, you know, League One, League Two, National League, they're the challenges that you see week in, week out. And actually, more often than not, they're allowed at that level. It sort of highlights what we get used to with what we watch and what referees allow, in inverted commas, at different levels.
I have to say, it's always been thus, chappers.
Yeah.
And also, you have to add that line that I always use in FA Cup rules. It is a little bit different at this level of the FA Cup. The referees don't think they're doing it differently, but they are. And even if you've got a top level referee who's used to doing Premier League games every week, comes to a ground like this, he does let a little bit more go. It's just the way of it. It's natural. They'll claim they don't, but they do. And as a player, I felt it. I felt the batterings when they happen. But you have to, as a player, have the right attitude to when it happens. I have to say, in the midst of it all, Leeds United, good attitude, brilliant attitude towards it. They've taken it in a good spirit. Yeah, they've got a bit riled now and again, but they've not gone huffy. They're not above it. They've said, okay, if that's the way it has to be, we'll have to deal with it and we'll have to play around it. We may have to give a bit back as well. I've actually been impressed with Leeds United's attitude in there.
Thank you very much, Pat. Ali back for the second half time at Walsall as well. John Akers.
Walsall 0, Leicester 0, and Mike Flynn's Walsall will have their heads held high going down the tunnel because they have really performed well here. They've had a couple of efforts themselves through Knowles. Everson's been forced into one save, but it has been all Leicester for the last 20 minutes or so. Patson Daka could have had 3 or 4 on another day. Harvey Barnes missed a good chance as well. Evans has only really, though, been tested once or twice, the Walsall goalkeeper, in the game. It's similar here. The refs let loads go. Chris Wilder's alongside me. Chris.
Yeah, just listening to Pat and Ali there at Accrington, it seems a carbon copy. The only difference is obviously Leeds United have got themselves in front, and I think both managers will be reasonably happy. Definitely from Michael's point of view, they've made contact with Leicester City and asked the question, and like Pat said, FA Cup rules, and I'm all over that. And the second part of it from Brendan's point of view is that, yeah, they've dominated possession, they've controlled the game, and they've created some really good chances. So it'll be the only disappointing is they're not going in at half time up in the game.
Yeah, 0-0 mark.
But the thing is, though, Chris, as well, it's not necessarily just FA Cup rules, is it? It's football rules, except the Premier League.
It is, yeah, you're right, he's spot on. It's contact game, and they've certainly made contact with James Maddison today. I think that might be up on the wall before the game, that we might have to be aggressive in our approach. But I've got to say, Leicester City have taken it the right way as well. There's been no moaning and groaning. They've got on with it. I mean, there was a challenge with Patson in the centre half, and they both were brave and they both were committed and they both went for it. So, as the boys have said over Accrington, there'd be quality in terms of the attitude of Leicester City and the way Brendan set them up and the way they come into it from a mindset.
Yeah, that was the brilliantly named Joe Lowe, by the way, who's on loan from Bristol City. I love that name. He went down with the head injury.
But you will know, though, Chris, from your time up and down the leagues, that if week in, week out you are playing a certain way, i.e., going in for tough tackles, which is what your supporters demand lower down the leagues, and in fact is what you have to do because everybody does it lower down the leagues. You can't then change your approach for one game just because it's Premier League opposition.
Well, of course, and Michael won't, because obviously he's managed at this level, and in my opinion should be managing a lot higher, really, with his exploits at Newport, and these, as we talked about as well, his history in terms of when they have played Premier League clubs, they're not going to change, and why should they? And it's up to I think when you talk about teams winning the FA Cup, they've got to overcome so many different challenges, and this will be a challenge that Brendan understands more than anybody, and the players will be, and especially as well, you look at quite a few of these players. James Maddison, he's played in the lower leagues as well before, and made his way up to the top level, so he'll understand that. They'll know what was going to go off here at the game today, from the off, and there'll be plenty of messages all through the week, and and rightly so in terms of no change of attitude from both oppositions.
Thank you very much, both. So that's goalless there. Walsall and Leicester. John Akers and Chris Wilder at that one for us. Our base from 3 o'clock is Craven Cottage, Fulham against Sunderland. All the goals as they go in up and down the country with Ian Dennis and Don Hutchison. We're also covering the other sports as well. We've got Premiership Rugby Union, we've got golf, and we've got racing. John Hunt at Cheltenham, and currently he's watching the Clarence House Chase.
Yes, this is one of the really big races of the day, Mark. It was restaged from the abandoned meeting at Ascot last weekend, and the big guns here are the champion chaser Energumene, currently in 4th place. He's just made a couple of small mistakes though, but going strongly, and just behind him Edward Stone, who won the Arkle Chase at the Cheltenham Festival as well, and this year the Tingle Creek Chase at the Sandown meeting before Christmas. So they're the two highlight horses as they rattle down the hill and head now down towards the 3rd last fence. Amarillo Sky, Editor du Gite still in front, these two. They've been bowling along at the head of affairs, with now Energumene moving into 3rd place. He still looks to be going well. Farther back is Funambul Sivola. Edward Stone is keeping an eye on Energumene rather than worrying about the leaders at the moment. He's got a little bit of work to do, but this race could change complexion as they now sweep for home. They've got 2 more fences left to take on this amazing day of racing here at Cheltenham. Trials Day. This is a definite big trial for the champion chase, and at the moment Editor du Gite still leads, but now the big two are trying to close on him with one to jump. Energumene and Edward Stone. Edward Stone in particular finishing well the final fence. Energumene made a bad mistake. That's race over for him. Up front, Edward Stone is hitting top gear, draws alongside Editor du Gite. It won't be today for the champion Energumene. Edward Stone, Editor du Gite is fighting back heroically. Editor du Gite, I think, might have got back to win it. It's a very tight photo finish here between Editor du Gite, trained by Gary Moore, ridden by Niall Houlihan. If Niall's won it, it's the biggest win of his career by far. He's in a photo finish with Edward Stone, the Arkle Chase winner from last year. Let's have a look at the photo. Yeah, it's very tight, but Mark, it does look as though Editor du Gite has landed a minor surprise here in the Clarence House Chase. Plenty more good things to come this afternoon, but that has to go down as a minor turn up here in the Clarence House Chase.
Thank you very much, John. Plenty more from Cheltenham throughout the afternoon with John, and we'll head to Craven Cottage before we return to Accrington. Stanley first, 26 minutes past 1. Here's Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
A 15-year-old girl has died after being stabbed in Northumberland. It happened in Hexham yesterday afternoon. Northumbria police say they've arrested a 16-year-old boy on suspicion of murder. They're asking people not to speculate online about the attack. 277 employees of Flybe are to be made redundant after the airline was put into administration. People with tickets are being told to stay away from airports. Flybe, which mainly operated within the UK, collapsed in 2020 but was revived last year. Sally Gethins, an aviation analyst.
It doesn't surprise me at all that this is the outcome. So I would question how robust the strategy was, the management approach. There's always been constant churn at the airline of management, for example.
Protests have been held in several US cities after police in Memphis released a graphic video showing 5 officers beating a 29-year-old man who later died from his injuries. The footage shows no signs of Tyre Nichols initially resisting the officers. They've now been charged with murder. Activist Ella Rapp says the case has revived anger over the killing of George Floyd.
It's horrible, but also more of the same, like surprising and not surprising in some ways. And I think it's particularly discouraging that, since the largest protest movement in the United States in 2020, very little progress has been made in some ways, which I think is what this case made a lot of people think about.
Sir Keir Starmer says he's made Labour fit to serve the country by showing that support of NATO is non-negotiable and dealing with anti-Semitism within the party. Speaking to supporters in London, he said Labour must never allow hate to spread unchallenged. And senior politicians in Northern Ireland, including the Democratic Unionist leader Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, have attended a funeral for a couple who died in a house fire. Alec and Anne Easton were parents of Stormont Assembly member Alex Easton.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Head back to Accrington Stanley shortly, where Leeds lead by 1-0. And Editor du Gite did win that race. Cheltenham did win the Clarence House Chase. It was a photo finish, but it went the way of Editor du Gite at 14 2-1. Ian Carter keeping an eye on whether we're going to see Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy go out together tomorrow in the Dubai Desert Classic.
It's still potentially on, but we still don't know, Mark, because the last stragglers are just finishing their rounds and then it'll all be tallied up. There are 8 players on 8 under par, McIlroy and Reed among them. It's a really packed leaderboard. No fewer than 14 players within 2 shots of the lead, which is held by Thomas Pieters, Michael Torbjornsson, who is an American amateur, and Richard Bland, both at 10 under par. Scotland's Connor Syme just 1 shot off the lead. Other players showing up well from the UK, Matt Wallace at 8 under par, Ian Poulter at 8 under par, and an exciting young Yorkshireman in Dan Bradbury, also within 2 shots of the lead.
If you're the organisers, you're doing your very best, aren't you? I know you can't, but you're doing your very best to shuffle names up and down in the 8 under category.
Listen, just do it. Just do it. I mean, you know, if it's showbiz, isn't it? It's professional sport. Let's see. I think there's a very, very good chance it's going to work out that way, but I'm really hesitant to say it's categoric at this stage.
Thank you. Let's go to Premiership Rugby Union. There was a late try last night to give the mighty Sale a win over Bath. Today we're at Welford Road as Leicester take on Northampton. James Burridge, it's a 2 o'clock kickoff.
Afternoon, chappers. Yes, and a fond farewell for Freddie Burns, who leaves for the Highlanders in New Zealand, and a shot at Super Rugby, the man who drop-kicked them in the summer to the Premiership title. And if you want to have an idea of the bond he has with rugby fans, not just here at Leicester, but across the Premiership, have a look at the website, go to the rugby page and watch the interview he has given. So many messages from fans connecting with him. He's at fullback today. Anthony Watson back from injury on the wing, one for Steve Borthwick to take note of. Both Northampton and Leicester level on points, both hit by international call-ups. Northampton missing 10 players, not in the best of form. And notable today, we've got the introduction mark of the shot clock operating on the big screens at the end of the pitch. 90 seconds for a conversion, 60 seconds for a penalty, all controlled by the TMO, all designed to speed up play.
Thank you, James. Sarries Bristol at 3. Exeter Gloucester is a 4:30 kick-off. Our base from 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's FA Cup 4th round weekend is Craven Cottage. Fulham against Sunderland at the Championship. All the goals as they go in up and down the country with Ian Dennis. And there's a revival going on at Sunderland, Ian.
Yes, there is. Tony Mowbray, they're just a point outside the playoffs. Number of young, exciting players. I like the way that they're doing the recruitment, the transfer strategy on Weir side, and we're going to have an atmosphere here. I think they've sold out the entire Putney end, which will be allocated to the Sunderland supporters. So the Sunderland fans will be here in their droves and hoping that they can maybe pull off a bit of an upset.
And I know the club have given you an executive lounge pass this afternoon, so I'm guessing you're going for a 3-course lunch now before the commentary?
Possibly. Yeah, I've been looked after very well here at Craven Cottage.
You've changed. Let's go back to the team who are keeping it real at Accrington. Pat Nevin and Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Mark.
You stick with your team, don't you? You stick with your production team and everybody in it together.
Yeah, all the way through.
Absolutely.
Mark, producer Gary Flintoff has provided the nourishment at half-time today, Pat.
I even stick with my channel. Anyway, moving on.
Right, second half just about to get underway. In terms of keeping it real and sort of FA Cup 4th round football at the Wham Stadium, we've just had to do a synchronised sit-down, the 4 of us, so Rob, engineer, me and Pat and producer Gary, because it is so sort of tightly squeezed in here. If anyone gets up on their own at any single point in time, it's actually then very difficult to sit back down. So we've managed that. We're back underway in the second half. Leeds United leading League One Accrington Stanley by 1-0. And Stanley in this second half, neither manager has made any changes as yet, playing in the red shirts with the white trim, and they are attacking towards the very noisy, bouncy Clayton end, away to our left-hand side. BBC Radio Lancashire, I mentioned them in the first half, away to our left, have one of the Stanley players, Seamus Keneally, club captain, has summarised it this afternoon, watching this at the moment, and the shot's over the bar from the Leeds fan. Harvey Rogers, it sat up for him at the far post, 8 yards out, he couldn't keep it down. What an FA Cup moment it could have been.
He's tried to side foot it into the top corner on the volley, and in those ones, honestly, you just got to contact, you just got to keep it clean, keep it down and on target. That is a fabulous chance to get on target. If the keeper saves it, fair enough, but it's gone a long way over the crossbar, and indeed the stand.
Just mentioning Seamus Keneally sitting away to our left-hand side. Manager John Coleman was saying how disappointed he was that he was unable to feature in this tie this afternoon. 34 years old, loyal servant to the club, having joined them back in January 2015, but apparently is very handy in front of the microphone as well. So that's what he's doing today. Minute and a half in, second half. Leeds all in white, attacking the goal away to our right.
By the way, ball count 4 gone so far.
Okay.
I mean, they're not the biggest stands in the world, but they've lost 4 already.
Harrison trying to turn a volleyed pass around the corner towards Bamford. Bamford's been having quite a physical battle with the 3 Stanley centre-backs, so we'll keep an eye on that in the second half as well. Ian Dennis and Don Hutchison bringing you full commentary of Fulham Sunderland from 3 o'clock in the FA Cup this afternoon. Reporters at all 6 other 4th round ties. Leeds have lost it on the edge of the Stanley penalty area. Ball up towards their centre forward Aaron Pressley. Pressley to his left, back to McConville. McConville's ball chested down inside the Leeds half. Sean Worley can't get away. Tommy Lee couldn't quite get the ball where he wanted it, and goalkeeper Toby Savin races out to the edge of his box and gives it a big hoof downfield, and it's from goalkeeper to goalkeeper. It's back with Ilan Melia.
It's very noticeable that Sean Worley and Pressley are staying really high up the field, but Leeds aren't bringing an extra man back. They're saying, we don't believe you've got the pace to get away from us. We're happy to go 2v2 at the back right at the start of this second half.
Melier's ball up towards Jorginho Ruta on his Leeds debut, goes down, no free kick. Another ball over the top of the Leeds back four. Worley trying to get there. Melier dives at his feet. Rodgers again with his left foot, and this one's wide. Offside flag was up, it wouldn't have counted. 2 chances, and I know that wouldn't have counted, but Harvey Rodgers has got himself the left-sided centre-back twice in the Leeds penalty area with efforts on goal early in this second half.
Yeah, a bit of a shame now. It was a decent distance offside, a couple of yards offside. I have to say, I wasn't getting overexcited about it, but you're right, you know, they are still getting players forward. The problem is they're making these runs slightly too early because they know they've not quite got the pace to do it.
Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Penalty at Walsall. John Akers.
For Leicester. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. We're only 2 minutes into the second half, and Yuri Tillemans has the ball on the spot for Leicester City. Takes 3 deliberate strides back. Massive moment in this game. Walsall have been so good. Up he steps right-footed and hits the post. And Walsall live to fight another day. Chris Wilder's with me.
Well, I think we didn't know what was given for. It was a contact, first contact, and then the second contact outside the box. I think we all thought at the time it was going to be a free kick, but the referee, Gavin Ward, went over to the linesman and he said it was a penalty. And you know, I think that's fair result, by the way, because it looked very, very soft.
It was Dackery went down. Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Thank you, John. So opportunity missed for Premier League Leicester. Here Leeds United 1 up at Accrington Stanley. Stoppage in play because Jorginho Ruta is down on the edge of the Stanley penalty area. What did you see there, Pat?
Well, number one, there should have been a booking for the kick by Farm and Patrick Bamford. Let's be honest about it. I know it's a slightly different way of looking at it. That was a booking all day long. That should have been arguably a sending off. The ball's been played through, he's turned away, he's been dragged back by his shirt. The referee scored, said play on. Now, I think he's maybe had a slight neck problem as he was dragged back, but unless it was offside when it was played, that is a free kick and possible sending off.
Okay, well, Jesse Marsh is making that very point at the moment to the 4th official, Stephen Martin.
I mean, they've not got a second view of it, and it has to be said, it took 2 or 3 camera angles to see it. We'll see where the referee places the ball. If he places the ball where he was injured, that means he thinks he was offside. Canandolin thinks.
Yeah.
Because there's no way he can know at this point in time. But that was a drag back of the shot, and there's no doubt in my mind that Ruta was away there.
Yeah,
well,
he was away. He was away. Ruta's the 20-year-old Frenchman on debut for Leeds United. Fell awkwardly.
He's not given a free kick.
Drop ball.
He's dropped the ball,
yeah.
so that's...
So they missed it.
They missed it.
They missed it. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1, and Yuri Tillemans hitting the woodwork with the penalty. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Commentary of that one continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Christensen clears from the right back position for Leeds. Farm heads the ball forward. Coyle then volleys it forward. Did Christensen get a touch on that? Melier thinks he did. Melier comes scampering across the dead ball line, clears with his right foot, it goes out for a throw in Stanley.
Yeah, ball number 5. two balls have now come on the pitch now. They've actually had a few lives, haven't they, so far, Accrington? And we were talking about it at half time. There is a limit between you smile and you want robust challenges to, come on, ref. You know, if I'm a player playing at top level, you need a level of protection that can then you know, go over the edge towards dangers.
Won't do Patrick Bamford's mood any good early in the second half. Tharm with a high looping throw. Mellier's come, missed it. Rogers shoots wide. Now Rogers is appealing for corner or penalty, I'm not sure, but the referee's given a goal kick. Harvey Rogers, the Leeds fan, has now had 3 efforts on the Leeds goal in the first 7 minutes of the second half.
Was impressive there, Mellier. Not impressive at all. He should have been able to catch that ball. He was up above both the players in front of him, but he's fumbled that. There's no argument. He's absolutely fumbled that. And by the way, for the long throw, why have they not used that more often?
Yeah.
He put it right on top of the goalkeeper there.
Firpo down the left to Sinistera. Sinistera, his path is blocked on the halfway line. Greenwood goes in to try and win a 50-50. Sinistera looking for the run of Firpo on the overlap. Harrison goes in, wins it back for Leeds. Now Firpo in a good attacking position on the left-hand side into the penalty area. Pass with his left foot, not a good one. Tharm clears, throwing Leeds wide on the left. 7.5 minutes gone in the second half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Firpo on the run into the penalty area. Ryan Astley clears on the turn. The clearance hits Jack Harrison. That'll go out for a throw into Stanley.
It's the one thing worth underlining. It's a really good game of football. It's really enjoyable. It's tight. It's not definite Leeds are going to get through. They look very strong favourites at the moment, but they're still in this Accrington, and they need to do something slightly different, because I think Leeds understand what they're trying to do now. You know, they've got 2 strikers up front, but they believe they've got the pace of them, and they need to try something slightly different. You keep on looking at the bench. There's a lot of youngsters in that Accrington bench, isn't there? Because
of the injuries, Pat. Yeah, that is a monster throw that Tharmer's got, because he's just used it again inside his own half, and I mean, that's gone 30 yards down the right-hand touchline, and they've won another throw, and they're almost up by the halfway line, just on the Yuri Tielemans missed penalty. If you're a fan of Sudden Death, which we play every week in the Fantasy 606 podcast, available on BBC Sounds, then the Yuri Tielemans missed penalty actually features in this week's game of Sudden Death. Tharmer's got Bamford to deal with. Savin off his line, miscues the clearance with his right foot. It's safe for Accrington Stanley though, because it runs away for a throw into Leeds on the left.
I know he completely mishits it and it looks bad, but it's good goalkeeping, and he's got out there, and Patrick Bamford thinks he's going to get in. He's getting blocked by Tharm as he's going through there. Could have gotten the end of it, but the keeper's out.
Throw in taken. Bamford's lay off back to Firpo. Ball bouncing loose just outside that Accrington Stanley penalty area on the right. Astley plays to his right, cleared by Tommy Lee. Here come Leeds again. Firpo stopped, tackled, throw in goes Accrington Stanley's way in their right back position.
It's got a bit scrappy this period of the game, and that sometimes happens, and you know, sometimes the lower league club are not disappointed with that. You know, a little bit of a scrappy game means that Leeds aren't able to control the midfield, tire you out by making you chase the ball. Accrington will put up with that.
Former Scotland international, FA Cup finalist Pat Nevin with us here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Accrington Stanley's team, Toby Savin in goal, 3 centre-backs, Ryan Astley, Doug Tharm and Harvey Rogers, who we've mentioned a fair bit at the start of this second half. Wing-backs, Ros Longillo and Sean McConville. Liam Coyle on the yellow card in central midfield, alongside the Scot, Ethan Hamilton and Tommy Lee, the scorer of the all-important penalty against Boreham Wood in the replay here on Tuesday night, playing in the number 10 role behind Big Aaron Presley and Sean Worley. Little flicked header from Sinistera, looking for Ruta on his Leeds debut. Charlton equaliser in League One. Albie Morgan has made it Charlton 1, Bolton 1. Jack Harrison, support from Firpo on the outside. The pass is cut out, throw in to Leeds, who are looking for that 2-goal cushion to try and make this tie safe. Luis Sinistera with one shot that came back off the woodwork that we think Savin may well have just got a fingertip to in the first half to deflect it that way. Leeds playing back towards the halfway line. Here's the Austrian, recent signing Max Verber. Ball infield, cut out, throwing for Leeds on the left. They've got Ilan Mellier in goal. Christensen, Koch, Verber and Firpo back 4. Sam Greenwood alongside Mark Rocker, Sinistera, Harrison, Ruta and Bamford.
And when there's slight problems Leeds have got, I mean, not a great problem because they're 1-0 up, but they're not a team that likes to play it back, play it along the back line, control the pace of the game. You know, they're very on the front foot. And this is a game you'd almost want to do that a bit, to draw the opposition defenders out. I think that would suit Leeds.
High ball from Mark Rocker, drops on the edge of the Accrington Stanley penalty area. Ruta goes for an overhead kick. There's a clash of legs, and the free kick actually goes Accrington Stanley's way. And it remains Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Just trying to catch sight of the Stanley manager John Coleman, who, as we said, has been there, seen it, done it, over 1,000 games in charge. He's very casually just leaning on the low metal railing that holds the advertising hoardings up that runs along the side of the ground. He was also featured in Tony Livesey's Fact of the Day in Drive on Friday. I discovered he appeared on Late Kickoff back in the day with Tony Livesey presenting. He was asked his biggest dislike, and John Coleman said it was tinned fish, Pat. Salmon, tuna, sardines, none of it. Wasn't having any of it.
Fair enough.
So that was your Fact of the Day on Friday, and that's how we fit it into the FA Cup commentary this afternoon. Ball into the edge of the box. Bamford goes down. Felt that he was being held back on the edge of the box. Leeds United feel they're not getting the decisions here. The ball is in the arms of the goalkeeper, Toby Savic.
Do you know, if you had VAR here, I honestly think Leeds could probably get 1, maybe 2 penalty kicks. There may even have been a sending off just now. There was certainly an arm in the shirt there.
Yeah.
It was pulled through. They would argue there's not enough, you know, to pull Bamford down. But in reality, you're not allowed to pull anyone's shirt. That's the rules. Them's the rules. You've got to stick to them.
That was Harvey Rogers. Now Mark Rocker's shirt is being grabbed here in midfield by Ethan Hamilton. Referee Josh Schmidt has spotted that one. Ironic applause from the Leeds fans. Sean Worley and Mark Rocker get involved in a bit of push and shove because Worley was trying to stop Rocker from taking the free kick quickly. Referee steps in to try and calm that down, and this cup tie still on the edge because Leeds only have the 1 goal. Stanley 0, Leeds United 1. Free kick taken by Robin Koch with his right foot down the right towards Bamford. He's beaten in the air, but it runs to Christensen, back to Greenwood, forward to Ruta. Christensen back in field. Here's Jorginho Ruta. Pass looking for Sinisterra, intercepted on the edge of the Stanley penalty area, cleared away by Harvey Rogers, up towards Aaron Presley. Holds off Verba, gets a good old shove in the back from Rocker and wins a free kick for the home team.
Well, that's the most like his dad that I've seen him all day long, because Aaron Presley's father, Stephen, he was a pass master of getting his body in front of the ball and, as they say in the game, taking the hit and going down. Well, he's got it there, and they've got another chance to put it in, you know, from a very central position. But once again, Leeds United try and play a high line.
Yeah, this free kick in the centre circle, just inside the Leeds half. So Leeds defending the goal away to our left, so close to the action here as McConville, diagonal ball towards the corner of the box, and Christensen and Koch decide to let that go safely, and out it goes for a throw into Leeds in the right back position.
It's a bit of a shame. Lee hasn't had any real chances, and he's a goal scorer. I mean, he's someone who can put the ball away in opportunities. You just wonder if one of the things you might be tempted to do at some point is maybe make a change up front and put Lee a little bit further forward.
Yeah, he's the tall, skillful number 8. He's got a bit of the Jack Grealish about him with that thin hairband in, tying the longer hair back. Christensen throws the ball in towards Sinisterra. His pass headed away, then a flicked header from Lee. Robin Koch and Presley, and there's a whole heap of bodies end up on the floor. Stanley come away with the ball. Ethan Hamilton pokes it towards Worley's offside. That'll be a free kick for Leeds, 10 yards inside their own half. And there's half an hour of this cup tie to go, with Leeds winning by a goal to 0. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Tielemans missing the penalty in the second half there. Commentary continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Charlton 1, Bolton 1 in League 1. Fulham Sunderland's your next FA Cup commentary at 3 o'clock here on 5 Live. We've got Preston Tottenham in full at 6, and Manchester United Reading full commentary at 8 o'clock this evening. Sports report between 5 and 6 as well, on the day that Arina Sabalenka came back from a set down to beat Elena Rybakina to win the women's singles title at the Australian Open. From 8:30 tomorrow on 5 Live, Djokovic against Tsitsipas for the men's title. Header away from Harvey Rogers, ball at the feet of Firpo, midway inside the Accrington Stanley half. Rocker Plays back to Greenwood. Greenwood floats a pass to his right. Christensen powers the header into the field. Bamford hits the shot into the side netting. Couldn't quite get it on target. Decent effort. Goal kick Stanley.
Yeah, and you know, when he was having his great season with Bamford, that would have roofed. Absolutely. Even though it was a hard possession he got himself into. You know, the first touch is good. It takes it away from goal a little bit. But he takes it on the first bounce from there, trying to get it into the top near corner. It's just not quite what he was before.
I'll tell you what though, Pat, you talk about attacking options for Jesse Marsh. So we're watching this front four of Sinisterra, Harrison, the new boy Ruta and Bamford. Rodrigo's on the bench. Somerville and Gnonto aren't even here.
Yeah, I mean, they need to add a little bit more. I think maybe lack of goals has been a problem this season, apart from the find that I saw last week. But you know, they needed to add a little bit more goals, a little bit more competition for places. And of course, when Bamford was injured, it was a huge miss for them.
Leeds on the ball inside their own half. Verba looking for the run over the top from Ruta. Ruta's round the goalkeeper Savin, who's got cover here from Coyle. Coyle just plays the ball out from his penalty area. McConville clears with his right foot. Harrison brings it under control inside the Stanley half. Knocked off the ball by Lee. Astley plays it to his right. Longello uses a bit of pace to get away down the right, runs into the challenge of Firpo, who holds his hands up and says, "Didn't touch him, ref." And the referee says, "I agree, that's going to be a throw-in for Leeds."
Right, well, I've left a few questions hanging over the referee a couple of times in this game so far. Well done, ref there. Brilliant, because he knows that was a dive. Nothing wrong with him there. He just ignored it completely when he went to ground.
17 and a half minutes gone, second half. Thrown from Firpo, header infield from Bamford, falls to Sinisterra. Sinisterra trying to get away from his man, hits it with his right foot just over the bar, into the Leeds fans behind that goal. It's another chance.
Oh, he can't shoot from there. I mean, honestly, you've got Ruta there, it's sitting there for the easiest tap-in in the world. You've got to play that. I mean, you can see my reaction is to hold out my hands wide. And I've looked down at Jesse Marsh, exactly the same reaction. You've got to lay your mate in there just to lash it. Oh, that's so disappointing. He does the wrong thing there. But if you're not in the team and you're not a first pick, you're thinking, I've got to get in. I've got to score a goal so that I have, you know, can say to the manager, I'm scoring goals. So to some degree I understand it, but the game should be finished there and then, shouldn't it?
Yeah, Sinisterra playing the ball now back into his own half. Cox curling pass, chested down by Christensen, closed down by Lee. Pokes the pass into Greenwood. Greenwood can't get it back to Christensen. That's going to be a throw-in for Accrington Stanley. Halfway line on the left-hand side, and Jesse Marsh at the moment just telling his Leeds team to settle and calm down. They've got the lead at the moment. They're heading towards the fifth round. Accrington Stanley have never been in the fifth round of the FA Cup. 3 previous appearances in the fourth round since the club formed as Accrington Stanley back in the 60s. Lost against Roy Hodgson's Fulham back in 2010. Middlesbrough they were beaten by in 2017, and Derby most recently back in 2019. That's Frank Lampard's Derby then. Here's Robin Kopp. Clears on the turn. That goes straight out for a throw-in to the home team on the left, right in front of our commentary position.
And we should have a decent chance to see a long throw, maybe.
Thorne's the man who's usually got the long throw, but let's see what...
I think Lee's got a bit of a long throw as well.
Yeah, he's got the ball wrapped up in the red jersey, getting all the moisture off it. It's going to use the advertising hoardings in front of us as a little launch pad for him. Diagonal run. Here we go. Slings it in. Flicked on. Couple of headers. Meslier will get to the bouncing ball down by the byline, so no danger for Leeds there. 25 minutes to play.
It was actually good to see behind that. It's a very unusual throw because it's got a huge amount of spin on it. A lot of Louis the way he does it. I'm actually not sure it's legal.
Yeah.
But the referee didn't spot it and almost caused trouble again.
Ball into Bamford, back to goal, edge of the Accrington Stanley penalty area. Clever pass, shot goes in, and Junior Firpo gives Leeds the 2-goal cushion, and in all likelihood is sending them through to the fifth round of the FA Cup for the first time in 7 years. Jubilant Leeds fans away to our right-hand side. Firpo with the finish, but the creation and the genius was Patrick Bamford's lovely little disguised layoff into the left-back's path. Cool finish. finish. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 2.
Well, I'm so happy you mentioned Patrick Bamford, and his movement was perfect. He dragged the defender. The timing of the reverse pass was perfection there. I mean, it is a really good goal, but you watch Patrick Bamford, he gets it. He understands everything about the play. It's a lovely inside the defender pass. It's not the expected ball. It's seriously intelligent, and it's possibly the best piece of skill we've seen all afternoon, and it's led to the second goal.
Brilliantly clever dragged pass to fool the defender. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 2. Junior Firpo's first goal for Leeds United. Walsall Leicester, John Akers.
Walsall 0, Leicester 0. 25 minutes plus added time remaining, and this is fascinating. Maddison's just gone off, most influential player for Leicester. Of course, it's his first game back after the World Cup. Tillemans has missed a penalty for them. Victor Christensen's just come on for his debut for Leicester, the Dane, and Songo is on for his debut for Walsall. Chris Wilder is alongside me. This is poised quite nicely, isn't it?
It is, it's poised. I think that Leicester have just got to keep building momentum and be patient. Sometimes they're just forcing it a little bit too much, but as you know by the scoreline, anything can happen. There's a couple of long throws have been chucked in there. One mistake by Leicester City, and Walsall pounce on it, and it's game on.
Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
A couple of great cup atmospheres coming through loud and clear on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this afternoon. Football Daily podcast will round everything up, as always, available on the BBC Sounds app for you. Just head to the BBC Sounds app and click subscribe on the Football Daily. Harrison away on the left-hand side for Leeds United. Can they get a third? Yes, they can! Leeds United sailing through into the 5th round of the Cup. Sinistera nips in front of Bamford to smash the ball into the back of the net. Accrington Stanley 0, Leeds United 3.
I mean, they held out for just about an hour, a bit more than an hour, but now they're being shredded. And it's one of those ones, as soon as that second goal goes in, it's not as if the heads have gone down, but they've just run out of gas completely in that Accrington back line there. Midfield aren't getting close at all, and Leeds have known it all along. We talked about it right at the start of the game. And it's a big if, Accrington can keep on tight, closing down for the whole 90 minutes, they've got a chance. If they don't, they haven't. Well, they haven't been able to do that, and they are now being sliced.
Scoreboard says it all away to our right, lit up in bright red. Accrington Stanley's club badge to the left, 0. Leeds United 3. Very comfortable now for the Premier League team. And Pat, you said it in the first half, and I recognise this in the third round. The first game they were 2-0 down against Cardiff, and they showed some real guts, resolve, skill, character to get back into that tie. Then they wiped the floor with Cardiff in the replay. They're properly into this FA Cup this season. Jesse Marsh promised they would be. He has made changes to the team, but they are up for the cup, if you'll pardon me using that phrase. Sinistera's just come off, and Rodrigo is now on to enjoy the remainder of this FA Cup 4th round title.
Well, he just knew he was going to bring Rodrigo in when the space started to develop. That's exactly what you do. A player like that is going to enjoy little bits of space, wants to get chances in the midfield. He can create, and with tired players in front of him, he's got every chance of creating opportunities from here on in.
Goal in the game between Walsall and Leicester now, John Akers.
And it's come for Leicester. Walsall 0, Leicester 1. 22 minutes to go. It's the substitute, Iheanacho, left foot via a deflection, looped over the goalkeeper. That's his 17th FA Cup goal. Iheanacho, why'd they leave him on the bench so long? That's 17 since 2016 for Iheanacho. Chris Wilder. Unlucky Walsall with the deflection.
Do you think it was a deflection?
I thought so, yeah.
Looks as if, you've got better eyes than me.
Here we go, here's the replay.
I thought it was a dip.
It's come off the back of the defender. It's come off the back of Comley.
Has it? Well, I mean, there was patient build-up yet again by Leicester City. We talked about not forcing it, they didn't, and Walsall were in good shape, 5-4 behind the ball, and they were moving the ball well, and obviously Iheanacho found a beautiful little pocket there, great left foot strike, turned it onto his left foot, and obviously a deflection there, and Walsall definitely disappointed for the outcome.
Yeah, they've been good, Walsall, in this one. They're still in it with 1 goal. Walsall 0, Leicester 1.
Thank you, John. 10 Premier League teams already out, but at the moment in these two 12:30 kickoffs in the 4th round ties this afternoon, the 2 Premier League teams are going through. Leeds comfortably so, leading Accrington Stanley here by 3-0 and now Leicester 1 up at Walsall. Commentary continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Throw in for Leeds, wide on the right. Rodrigo now involved in the action. Harrison on the turn, pings a lovely ball out to Ruta. Ruta's first touch takes him into the box, and then he's hit the side netting. Few fans to our left, I think, thought he'd stuck it away. The net rippled, it was the wrong side. Pat Nevin.
Do you know, oddly enough, Ruta, he's put it into the side there. He looks better wide, doesn't he? He just, you see somebody's body language. He's been playing like a little bit more central up until now. They've moved him to a much more natural left wing position. He just looks better now. Remind me, he's come from Hoffenheim.
Correct, yes.
Wasn't there another player that came from Hoffenheim up at Newcastle?
Joe Linton.
Yeah, and they played him up front and it wasn't his right position.
Yeah.
When he put him a little bit deeper and look at him now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those classic ones where, like, see when you get a player, play him in his best position, mate.
Pat Nevin with us here at the Wham Stadium. Still grey skies, big flock of birds swarming over Ilan Mellier's goal. Above him away to our left, he rolls the ball out and Verba's in trouble, has to stretch. Presley in with the challenge. Leeds have kept it. Firpo back to Verba. Verba just whips the ball up the middle of the pitch. Rodrigo flips a header onto Bamford. Back to Rodrigo. Now looking for the run of Bamford. Intercepted by Tharm. Accrington Stanley turn it into an attack. Floated ball wide to the left, controlled by Worley. He's got Koch for company. Coyle has to stretch, he's lost it. Leeds look hungry for another goal here. Harvey Rogers steps in, clears with his right foot, and Jorginho Ruta's now back in the left back position here for Leeds. Pressured by Longhello, holds him off, and the ball goes behind for a goal kick. Racing this afternoon is at Cheltenham. Let's go live to John Hunt.
Yeah, we just enjoyed race 5 of the 9 today, Ali, and the second winner of the afternoon to report for trainer Port Nichols. Il Ridotto has just won the feature handicap chase of the day at odds of 9-2, beating favourite Fugitive, the two of them 15 lengths clear. And in just half an hour's time, the Cotswold chase, Ali. Nichols going for a 3-timer there with the popular Frodon, Bryony Frost on board. Grand National winner Noble Yates and Gold Cup Fancy Protectorate also in that lineup.
Thank you, John. Looking forward to it. Quite often with FA Cup football on Radio 5 Live, you'll find John Hunt at one of the games, not this afternoon, in more familiar surroundings. At Cheltenham as Bamford flicks the ball on here into the Accrington Stanley half. Ryan Astley plays back to his goalkeeper Savin, closed down by Harrison. Clears the ball high and long down the middle of the pitch. Koch heads it away, controlled by McConville. I say controlled, it got away from him. Rodrigo looking to win it on the halfway line. Tharm is in, clears for Accrington Stanley. Trailed by 3-0.
But just a wee moment there with a 50-50 between Tharm. Back into a minute.
Ball to Bamford, lovely control with the left foot. Little dink finish he attempts, that's blocked by Savin. Then on the turn hits another shot into the side netting. It might not happen for him this afternoon, Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, he felt a little bit sorry for him because the take was beautiful. The second touch, when he's behind him and he's dragged it with the outside of his left foot to go back onto his right foot. He's taken another touch, sees the keeper, sees everything, tries to flick it over, not quite enough height on it. And another chance goes up begging for Patrick Bamford.
I think he could have scored the third if Sinisterra hadn't stayed. He was right there, wasn't he? Patrick Bamford.
He kind of, technically, everything he did there was brilliant. But he didn't score the goal. He just needs to lift it maybe another foot higher to get it beyond the goalkeeper. But you can see Patrick Bamford, he's getting closer now, isn't he? Yeah. He's getting closer to the player he was.
Yeah, absolutely, Pat. 16 minutes to play in this game. Leeds, I think, we can pretty safely say going through to the 5th round because they look more likely to score the next goal in this game. Waiting to make a treble change here as well, Leeds. Bamford on the ball inside the Accrington Stanley half across to Greenwood. Leeds quite happy to slow it down. Bamford now looking for a little 1-2 near the edge of the box. Runs to him. Bamford, little pass to his left-hand side. Rodrigo! Savin makes the block, close the ground down quickly. Falls to Ruta. Ruta shoots. His shot's blocked. And that's out for a throw into Leeds on the left.
Yeah, and that's why you bring Rodrigo on now, because you know there's going to be space, and that's exactly what has happened. They're cruising at the moment, absolutely cruising, and they're playing very well, but they've earned the right to play well, haven't they, Leeds? They have worked, they have battled when they have to battle, and that's, you know, it's easier said than done. That they battled through those 60 minutes, they earned the space, and they're now making fabulously good use of it.
debut over for Jorginho Ruta. He's coming off at the same time as Robin Koch. Diego Llorente is coming on. 18-year-old Sonny Perkins, who got the crucial late equaliser in the original third-round tie against Cardiff, is coming on, and the American international Brendan Aronson is coming on as well. So while we get sorted here, let's head to Craven Cottage. Our 3 o'clock commentary in the FA Cup this afternoon. Fulham, Sunderland. Ian Dennis taking a break from the boardroom to give us the team news.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Yes, Fulham have made 6 changes from the side that lost to Tottenham here on Monday night. Rodax in goal, Tosin, Kazawa, Kearney, Wilson and Solomon are all starting. Mitrovic is on the bench. Sunderland in the Championship, just 1 change. Corey Evans, who's out for the season, is replaced by Edouard Michou.
Thank you, Ian. He'll be fed and watered and ready to go. 3 o'clock, Fulham, Sunderland. Ian and Don Hutchison, fastest goal service around. Looking forward to having a listen on the way home this evening. Reporters at the 6 other FA Cup 4th round ties. Full hour of a sports report from 5 o'clock. Preston Tottenham in full at 6. It's also on BBC One. Chris Waddle, part of our commentary team, at that one alongside Vicky Sparks, and then Conor McNamara and Leon Osman will bring you full commentary of Manchester United against Reading from 8. No 6:06 this evening. That will return tomorrow after Wrexham Sheffield United at 4:30, which is our second commentary game tomorrow afternoon. Patrick Bamford's off. He was one of those to come off.
Yeah, Aronson's come on for Bamford. Perkins for Rutter, giving Perkins a little bit of chance. Rutter's done well today. He's impressed. You know, it's very, very early on in his career at Leeds, but he's certainly going to add something to them because he's got quality, he's got pace, and he works very hard as well. And was the other one Llorente for Koch?
Koch, yeah. Robin Koch, who I think is actually suspended for the next Premier League game away to Nottingham Forest, which is a big one for Leeds United, but he has come off anyway. Ever present in the Premier League so far this season. Dion Charles has got Bolton back in front at the Valley. Charlton 1, Bolton 2. That goal has come in the 68th minute. Just over 20 minutes to play there. We've got about 13 minutes plus added time remaining here, and credit to Accrington Stanley. They are still busting a gut to try and get, even if only a consolation goal, something out of this tie. Tommy Lee's tackled, Greenwood clears with his right foot, Rodrigo can't control it, and Jesse Marsh is waving those white shirts up the field.
Yeah, absolutely. They would love to get that, but they're running past us now, and you can see the tiredness. And it's mental as well as physical. They put everything they possibly could in, whereas the Leeds players seem to be cruising along at this point in time, making sure they don't get injured.
Last we heard, Leicester were 1 up at Walsall. What's the latest, John Akers?
Yeah, Walsall 0, Leicester 1, 14 minutes plus added time remaining, and Leicester just controlling the game now after taking the lead through that deflected effort from Ian Atcher. They'd missed a penalty before that. Chris Wilder's with me. So difficult for Walsall now they're a goal behind.
Yeah, the first goal for a Premier League team in ties like this is so important and crucial for them. And now they change the formation from Walsall going 2 up top, and they've got to go after the game and not go out the back door. So when they go and press, the quality of Leicester now is just to play through that press, and they're doing it pretty easily. But I'm sure that, you know, there's going to be twists and turns in this. Still not all over, and, you know, last 15 minutes we would want to barnstorming into it.
Walsall 0, Leicester 1.
Junior Firpo's got his first goal for Leeds United this afternoon. The other fullback, Rasmus Christensen, very nearly did so just then, Pat. Toby Savin with a good save.
Yeah, fantastic save. He's had to scoop it round. It's one of those ones, the keeper can't just hit that back out because there's so many Leeds players that have come in for a tap in, flicked it around for a corner kick. They're still under pressure.
Corner Leeds, they are leading Accrington Stanley by 3-0. They are getting ready to make a quadruple change. Commentators' nightmare on the way. Foul on Longello on the edge of the penalty area. So Accrington Stanley will have a chance to clear their lines. And I'm pretty sure, I know the Leeds fans, Pat, will be absolutely desperate their team stays in the Premier League and continues to build, but I think they'll very much enjoy being in the hat for the 5th round of the FA Cup, because their recent performance in the FA Cup have been awful.
Yeah, and to be honest, the FA Cup's brilliant because you can win the game and you park it. You blank it then, and then when it comes around again, there's excitement, the build up around it, and never ever changes. There always is that build up around it, and yeah, it's a great release, and it also is a great chance to get players games and opportunities.
So quadruple change being made by Accrington Stanley here. Latest to come on is that's Adekoya, isn't it? Leslie Adekoya, 18-year-old striker who's bounced on and going straight up the middle. Centre-back Doug Tharm is coming off as well. 17-year-old Aaron Pickles
coming on. So some of these Accrington Stanley youngsters that Pat mentioned in the first half getting a good run out and a chance to experience this FA Cup occasion against Premier League opposition. So 4 changes made. Christensen heads the ball away for Leeds, side-footed forward by Harvey Rogers. Tommy Lee fancies a dip with his right foot. Meslier low to his left, palms the ball away. Ball will stay in play. There's the chance, there's the goal! He's just off the bench. Leslie Adekoya, the 18-year-old, has scored in the FA Cup for Accrington Stanley. He comes racing down the touchline right past us. And how about that for an FA Cup story? Off the bench within less than a minute, he scored against Leeds United. Accrington Stanley 1, Leeds United 3.
Do you know what he's thinking? Apart from the fact that I have scored in the FA Cup against a Premier League team, he's thinking, why did you not get me on before? This game could have been maybe possibly saved. And I asked earlier on that, they had to make a change. They didn't lose if they were going to create anything from the start of the second half onwards. But you just never know how the kids are going to react. Oh, he reacted okay.
What a moment. Leslie Adekoya signed his first professional contract with the club last July. 7 substitute appearances up until today. Only made his debut for the club at the end of October, and there he is, close range, sticking the ball away, and in front of the home fans as well, in front of that Clayton end, getting to enjoy the moment. It might make no difference to the eventual outcome of the game, but always a memory to be treasured. We're into the last 10 minutes of this cup tie. So Accrington Stanley 1, Leeds United 3. Here's Mark Rocker looking for a run down the left from Jack Harrison. Ball breaks loose on the edge of the penalty area. Stanley clear up towards Sean Worley. Now the ball played back to Rasmus Christensen. Christensen plays in field. Sam Greenwood can't quite get there. We're going to get the Southampton-Blackpool team news shortly. I'll bring you that in a second. Jack Harrison's ball into the edge of the penalty area. Aronson stretches. It's cleared away from him by Tommy Lee. Accrington Stanley, here they come again. This is Ethan Hamilton using all the energy he's got to try and get away down the left-hand side. Hamilton's ball into the edge of the penalty area. That's behind the on-rushing Adekoya, so Leeds will be able to bring it away down the left-hand side. And I do beg your pardon, reporter at Southampton Blackpool, I didn't catch who was there. Jonathan Overend, please bring us the team news.
Good afternoon, sir. How are we? The main news from here, and as you all know, James Ward-Prowse wants to play in every match. He'd probably even play in the office kickabout on a Sunday morning, but he's not playing today. He's not in the Southampton squad. Now, I'm told he is here, but he's been given the day off. So I suppose that emphasises how important he is to this Southampton team as they try to stay in the Premier League and, of course, have the chance to make Wembley on Tuesday night. 8 changes in total for Southampton. Blackpool under Mick McCarthy today make 5 changes, including a debut for Charlie Good on loan from Brentford.
Thank you. The unmistakable voice, of course, of Jonathan Overend. I do beg your pardon. Jonathan will be providing updates on Southampton, Blackpool. It's a commentary on Radio 5 Sports Extra this afternoon. Fulham against Sunderland, your commentary here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Into the last 7-8 minutes here of Accrington Stanley 1, Leeds United 3. Pat Nevin to my right has been furiously scribbling and sort of getting across all the changes that Accrington Stanley. But I tell you what, Pat, if they were to get another, considering the fact that Leeds can sometimes concede a few goals, you never know.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, he watched Cardiff the other night. They came back really late on, got a couple of goals, and there can be an edginess about Leeds in these situations.
Rodrigo to Aronson, back to Rodrigo. Rodrigo's initial shot is blocked. Ball is cleared away by Tommy Lee. Sean Worley will chase it. It's inside the Leeds half. Here's Greenwood. Greenwood plays to Firpo. Now Mark Rocker. Rocker to his left-hand side. Leeds continuing to attack. Looking for a 4th goal here. I think they're going to win a free kick. No, they're not. Josh Smith says no foul on the halfway line. Ethan Hamilton's overrun it, and the ball will come through to Ilan Meslier. In the rugby, Leicester Northampton, James Burridge.
7-0 Leicester. Harry Potter down the left wing, sprinting clear, and Northampton in trouble, down to 14 players already. James Rahm, a yellow card for a high tackle. 7-0 Leicester, 10 minutes gone.
Thank you, James. 5 minutes remaining then, plus injury time in this cup tie. 7 FA Cup 4th round ties kicking off at 3 o'clock as Meslier
just delays on the release, looking to bowl it out underarm, rolls it into midfield. Rocker plays to his left to one of the goal scorers, Firpo. Now Harrison's trick is too obvious. He's tackled. Firpo finds Harrison again, who sets off on a run into the Accrington Stanley half. 18-year-old Sonny Perkins gets a touch. Wide on the left-hand side, drags the ball infield, running to his right. His pass is diverted into the feet of Ethan Hamilton. He's fouled. Free kick for Accrington Stanley. The other thing I should mention, actually, Pat, while we were bouncing around and going to some of the other venues, Rodrigo actually came very close to making it 4-1, didn't he, for Leeds?
Yeah, they've had a whole bunch of chances, and they have played well, but you thought the game was completely put to bed. It wasn't put to bed, because anything can happen in these situations, and the lift that Accrington got from that goal is extraordinary, and that's exactly what he said. If they could sneak another one, you just never know.
Just never know. 5 minutes remaining. Josh Woods is on. Substitute, another one, and he gets an early touch. Cross into the far post. Christensen under pressure. Good defending. Let the ball bounce and nodded it back to Ilan Melier. So Sean Worley has come off. Josh Woods has come on. Accrington Stanley 1, Leeds United 3. Latest on the Walsall Leicester Cup tie. John Akers.
Yeah, 5 minutes here as well, Ali. Plus added time. Walsall 0, Leicester 1. Tielemans missed a penalty, and then the goal from Ian Acho. Walsall are having a go, but they are wide open on the break. Chris Wilder.
Well, it's a couple of great chances to kill the tie off there. Harvey Barnes, and I think it was Ian Acho as well. But they've just taken a few chances around the edge of their own box and just invited that little bit of pressure on.
Yeah, and they've got a bit of pressure coming on here, Walsall. They're trying to get the ball here near the byline. They've whipped in the cross. Castagna comes across and has to clear it out of play, and it's helped away by Christensen. Throw-in. They've got a long throw in them of Walsall, so it's going to be an exciting last 4 here. Walsall 0, Leicester 1.
Yeah, Walsall need 1 goal in the closing stages to try and force a 4th round replay. Accrington Stanley here need 2 in 3 minutes plus added time. Christensen heads the ball away. Aronson tries a little feint inside his own half. Tackled by Hamilton, who tells Aronson to get up. Tommy Lee away on the left-hand side. Cross deflected. Headed away by Firpo from the edge of his own penalty area. Nodded to the left to one of the substitutes, Jack Nolan. Nolan's pass down the left, off target, intercepted by Greenwood. Up to Rodrigo, he's giving the ball away. Coyle plays it to Hamilton. Hamilton out wide to Tommy Lee. Jack Nolan makes the run on the overlap.
There's a bit more freedom about them since they made the changes. They're actually a more enjoyable team to watch. It's just now getting the ball down a lot more just now. Real belief in themselves. That's what we're saying about the goal. When they were 1 down, had they got a goal then, you would have seen a different group, a different team, a different set of beliefs. They've shown that just now. It just looks as if it's too late.
Should mention Seb Quirk as well, who's come on for Accrington Stanley, because he has just arrived from Everton. Only his 2nd appearance for the club at the age of 21 years old. Attendance of 5,268 this afternoon, of which 2,616 apparently are Leeds fans, which is very nearly, we worked this out, very nearly exactly half the figure, half and half, but not quite. Walsall Leicester, John Akers.
Big chance for Walsall, their best chance of the game so far, with 3 minutes plus added time remaining. Walsall 0, Leicester 1, but Douglas James Taylor from a corner has a real opportunity. Bit of head tennis, shot goes back in, drilled into the ground. It's a little flicked header. In fact, I think it might have been Donovan Daniels, the captain, who got it, but Everson claimed it at the 2nd attempt. Chris Wilder, big chance.
Yeah, it was. You just hope for them, one of them chances to come, and going into the last 5 or 10 minutes of a game. It's been a relatively tight game as well. Leicester would be really disappointed if they not put this game to bed. There's another chance as well. Christensen on the left-hand side.
The new signing puts it back across. Dewsbury Hall just wide.
He's got to score.
Walsall 0, Leicester 1.
Thank you, John. We have 1 minute plus added time remaining here. 19-year-old Mateo Joseph is now on for Leeds. The Spaniard has come on for Jack Harrison, who got things up and running for Leeds in this game with a thumping left foot shot in the first half. Rodrigo trying to repeat the feat just on the edge of the penalty area. Ball taken away from him as he swung his left boot to try and get the strike on goal. And now Leeds playing from inside their own half. Joseph's going to chase this down the right-hand side, shoulder to shoulder with Harvey Rogers. He's just bumped off the ball, and that'll be a goal kick for Accrington Stanley. Pat Nevin.
Very, very noticeable. There's going to change it. Leeds in the back line. They were going for 2 for 2 before. They're not doing that anymore. And make sure they've got cover back there. They understand that there's a bit of a danger. And of course, Adekoya, they don't know a great deal about him, I'm sure. He's not, started any games before this. I know a bit about him now, and certainly he's got great physicality. He looks like a player to keep an eye on.
4 minutes of added time at the Wham Stadium. Accrington Stanley need 2 goals. Wild challenge from Matteo Joseph, apparently didn't catch Nolan. The referee was right there, says no free kick. Nolan stayed down. Here's Joseph. Joseph, little right-footed pass, looking for Sonny Perkins, edge of the box. Tommy Lee chests the ball down. Leeds are looking a little open here, trying to get back. Tommy Lee's on the ball, takes his time, curls the pass out to the substitute Josh Woods. Woods turns and faces up against Firpo. Good run on the outside here. Cross comes in high and deep towards the far post. It's beyond Nolan, it's beyond Christensen, but Tommy Lee has read it well here, and he collects it on the left. That's a better ball, and the header from Adekoya is wide of the target. Chance.
They can't deal with him, can they? They just cannot deal with him. I mean, he's holding the ball up well. He's got great physicality. I mean, you know, look at what he's got in his game since he's come on. I mean, it's only a cameo that he's scored the goal, but also his movement. You can tell that the Leeds United defenders are concerned about. That ball comes in there. His leap, he is miles above anyone else. I'll tell you what, my eyebrows aren't the only ones that have been raised here by him.
Come right in saying as well, Pat, and I know it's a long way away, but you're still talking youth internationals as well. He is eligible to represent the Republic of Ireland, England or Nigeria. Born in Ireland to Nigerian parents and moved to England at a young age, and here he is at Accrington Stanley. He's made a name for himself. Leslie Adekoya in the FA Cup 4th round this afternoon. Time running out for Accrington Stanley. Leeds leading by 3-1 and heading for a place in the 5th round of the FA Cup. The 5th round draw, by the way, we'll bring it to you live during the Monday Night Club on 5 Live Sport Monday night. It'll be live in the One Show as well, ahead of Derby West Ham, which is our commentary game from the FA Cup on Monday night. And those 5th round ties will be played midweek in the week beginning Monday the 27th of February, so it'll be early March for the FA Cup 5th round original ties. Aronson back to Christensen, looking for Aronson again. Ball is headed out of play by Jack Nolan for Accrington Stanley. 2 minutes of added time up, 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, and they've tried to play out the game, obviously. Leeds makes perfect sense. Don't like to take any chances, but if they could get a 4th, they would feel much, much better about it, because they have dominated the vast majority of this second half.
Trying to win the ball deep in Accrington Stanley territory. Ethan Hamilton's got Brendan Aronson and Matteo Joseph for company. He's done really well. He has actually conceded a throw, but he didn't have the ball taken off him as such.
I'd be really intrigued to hear Jesse Marshall's comments afterwards. I mean, this is really FA Cup, you know, and he's seen very different side of football to maybe what he's seen before in the Premier League. It's intriguing to see what he thinks of it.
It's going to be an important win for Leeds United, just in terms of winning games, because it's just 2 wins in the last 16, 1 win in the last 9. That 1 win against Cardiff in the FA Cup replay. Oh, Adekoya gets a shove in the back there from Sam Greenwood, which was a little unnecessary. Adekoya has come straight to Greenwood and saying, what on earth is that all about? Ball was already going out of play. I don't think that was entirely necessary from Greenwood, and it could have sent him into the stands.
He spooked them. He really has. I've actually seen a few players have a dig at him off the ball, nudging him and pushing him. That's not because they don't like him.
Oh, well, there you go. There's the 18-year-old reacting. Now he's going to get booked, and that's often the way it happens. He goes in aggressively against Rasmus Christensen, barges into the back of him. Max Verber comes over for Leeds to have a word. Adekoya gets booked, and it was retaliation.
Absolutely, 100%. You don't argue with that. It's an absolute definite yellow card, but there's a few managers and a few coaches out there saying, yeah, I quite like that. Well, you've given away a free kick, you might end up losing a goal of it. But if somebody at that age is thinking, I'm not going to deliver you lot, I'm giving it back.
Yep, certainly made a name for himself. Free kick Leeds, and that's a cheeky one. Shot on goal from wide on the right. Toby Savin saves, and the full-time whistle blows. So give you the details in just a second, but Accrington Stanley are out, still yet to make it through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. Leeds are through for the first time in 7 years. They've beaten Accrington Stanley by 3-1. We'll take you to Walsall Leicester. John Akers.
Walsall 0, Leicester 1. We've got a minute of added time remaining, and Walsall have got a free kick 25 yards out, left of the D. This is a massive chance. The substitute, Connor Wilkinson, is over it. He's lining it up with his left foot, and here it comes, and it's just wide of Everson's left-hand post. He makes the dive, but it is a goal kick, Leicester, and they have really battled in this. Walsall. Leicester have had real quality, dominated all the possession, but it looks like it's going to be the Premier League team going through. Chris Wilder, former Sheffield United Middlesbrough manager, with me.
Yeah, you look at games like today and you'd expect domination from the Premier League team, the golfing class between League Two and the Premier League, and you hope that there's an odd chance that you might be able to take as that team that's chasing the game, and as Walsall have. But if truth be known, really, Leicester should have put this game to bed about 10-15 minutes ago.
Daka's had real chances in the first half. They've missed a penalty, Leicester, but like at Gillingham, they've beaten League Two opposition again to go through by 1-0. The Walsall players have given it everything. They're down on the floor, some of them, as the handshakes go round from the rest of them. It's a goal of quality from Iheanacho via a deflection, it has to be said, but that's the goal that separates them, Chris.
Yeah, the attitude of Leicester City players this afternoon has been fabulous. They know they were going to come into a hostile environment where the opponents, Walsall, were going to make contact with them, which they did. Their shape was good. Walsall, Mickey Flynn will be delighted with the efforts of his team, and back to league campaign and league schedule now for Walsall. But great result and an excellent performance by Leicester City.
Yeah, Mike Flynn, the Walsall manager, knocked Leicester out last time he faced them as Newport manager. Today, it wasn't to be, as Brendan Rodgers goes out on the pitch and applauds those Leicester fans who've travelled. Finished Walsall 0, Leicester 1, Mark.
We do have a tendency, Chris, in the media to go, if a lower league side knocks out a Premier League team, to sort of hammer the Premier League team for going out, and then if the lower league side lose to a Premier League team, praise the lower league team for a plucky display, whereas actually, given the tricky circumstances that both Leicester and Leeds find themselves in, to come through their ties this afternoon deserves a lot of praise.
Yeah, I think both the attitudes of both managers and both sets of players as well. Leicester City, this was a tricky one for them, and so it would have been at Accrington Stanley as well. And as you know, in these games, there'll be few and far between the chances in terms of what Walsall will create and have to take, and they didn't take them. And I think Brendan will just be delighted in terms of the way the team controlled it, but the way they matched the attitude of the opposition as well. And these boys get to the top not just because they're good footballers, but their attitude is spot on. I think if you're a Leicester City supporter watching their team today, they can be pleased in terms of what they've seen in terms of the commitment and the way they played. They'll be disappointed that they've missed chances first half and Dako and even second half, but that was to be, because Walsall were going to be pushing on and going to try and get back into the game, left themselves wide open. But the top and bottom of it is Leicester City. They fancy their chances in this competition. It's been difficult league campaign so far for Brendan, but he knows what an FA Cup looks like, an FA Cup win looks like, and so do the players of Leicester City.
Chris, John Akers there, thank you very much. Let's just go back to the Wham Stadium. Accrington Stanley being beaten 3-1 by Leeds, and Leeds have had two tough ties to come through now, Pat.
Yeah, they have, but their attitude's been splendid all the way through it. It was a battle in the first half, and very, very physical as well. But they weren't prima donnas about it. They mucked in there, they put it in, and they thought to themselves, as long as we keep on doing the right things, our superior technique will win through, and that's often the case. And also, if you keep on working like that, eventually the opposition will tire, and then the quality got through. And Patrick Bamford, who's like 10 yards in front of us there, walking away, that piece of pure class with his pass, for Fipro's goal was pure quality as well. But, and it's a big but, chappers, see, every now and again you see a player, right? And at the start of the season, I remember seeing Matomo for 20 minutes and telling everybody on 5 Live, watch him, right? Just watch him. Just seeing a player, I declare, right? Only 20 minutes of him, right? At 18, if he's doing what he's doing there, he's not here long. He's absolutely not here long. He looks as if he could be pretty special, so keep an eye on him.
So when you say that, then what are you seeing?
Well, it's not somebody who has a lucky goal. He scored a goal, fair enough, anyone can do that. It's not someone who's the odd bit of skill, because everyone can be the odd bit of skill. It's putting it all together, and then bullying people, and then the attitude, and then top professionals looking around each other going, whoa, right, we've got to watch out now. We've been cruising. Now we've got to change our game here completely. And they changed the game completely. They went from 2 at the back to 3 at the back. the entire game changed with this lad come on, and just the way he moves, you know, and the physicality of about him. I remember watching Tammy Abraham coming through and thinking, well, this lad looks, you know, like 5 years ahead of Tammy Abraham when he was 18. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, 20 minutes can be brilliant, and also it can be the best 20 minutes ever had in his life. I'm going to keep an eye on that lad. He looks as if he could be special.
And I'm guessing because of his age, there will be inconsistencies, which is probably why he's not a regular, or he's started some, he's on the bench, he's come on today, etc, etc.
That happens to every player.
Yes.
You break through, and the manager's a wee bit wary of putting you in, and they want to take you in and take you out, and they bridge you in, and you're thinking, let me out there, get me in there, give me a chance. He's given him a bit of a chance today. He'll be starting soon.
I guess as well, Chappers, there's nothing to lose, is there? 3-0 down against Leeds United, FA Cup 4th round. Why not get him out there in sort of, you know, League One tough scraps, considering where they are in the league at the moment? You know, maybe he will get more of a chance now, but maybe that's why we've not seen that much of him until this point.
Chappers, the other question you ask, why? So the reaction of the opposition against him when they immediately see. There's also the reaction of his own players, and the own players want to give him the ball, they want to move to him, they want to move off him, they have a different spring in the step. Yeah, he scored the goal, that helped it. So I'm just lovely to see it. The FA Cup now and again, you know, he's a story anyway, because he's got to go against Leeds United, but you know, every now and again you see somebody, you think, hey, you do it right, mate, you've got a chance, you've got a really good chance.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, both of you. Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin. Let's just go to the Gallagher Premiership. James Burridge.